Okay, we're recording. Man, that took a minute. It's like there was dust on the engine. Man.
Yeah, well, it didn't want to. It's like when your car is in the cold; it doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, you got to warm it up.
The radio show didn't want to come back.
I think we've been off air for what, 4 weeks, maybe.
Close too. Normally, back in my day, the NPR took a 2-week break, and then we were back rigidly timed, like some sort of military operation. This is
we're getting older, man.
Lackadaisical kind of,
As I was telling you, my life has been kind of turned upside down for a few weeks.
It's been quite interesting,
when somebody else I have a new boss.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, So just one day you come in, it's like, oh, by the way, we sold all the stores. Oh, that's great.
Okay.
So what's that mean for me? Well, here's the thing,
have questions.
How's that snake business thing you got going?
How did you do? How's that snake breeding?
Well, I kind of retired from that
breeding,
one too.
You say? So you have to breed them to make more of them. Shit.
Man, if I never had to breed diamond pythons ever before, this would be the year.
Of course. Well, I've decided that now what I'm going to start doing is forbidding you from breeding other things until you do the diamond pythons.
I do the diamonds.
So today you were forbidden from ever breeding jungles again until you breed the diamonds. So
gotcha. Okay, fair
enough.
Tune
in next week and I will find something else.
Something else? What about Russian tigers? Do they count?
No.
Okay.
Note, I said jungles. I did this I put thought into this.
I know you're very, very sharp when it comes to these things.
I said jungles because if you do a bunch of, listen, there's about a 50-50 shot I will fail at breeding granite IJs this year. But I need you to keep doing what you're doing in case I need to fill the gap of my table, and I need you to get Papuans to possibly put there. So you're not barred from Papuans. You're barred from jungles because I have jungles that are breeding.
Okay.
And I've been getting locks from those jungles. So yes, I did that on purpose.
Very good. Good
You're
planning.
Also barred from breeding olive pythons, I guess. I don't know.
We're back. First episode of the, I don't even know. What are we? Is this 14?
Season 14.
Season 14, episode 578. We have Adam Sehy from The Expert and the Idiot. I'm a big fan of Adam's podcast. You've heard me talking about it probably the last couple of months of NPR. Some great episodes, but we're going to talk about the podcast. Obviously, we're going to talk jungles, diamonds, keeping them outside. I think my first interaction with Adam was talking about Timor pythons. So I know he's a huge fan of that.
That is the background of my, I have my 3-screen computer thing going on here. And my Timor pythons are my background because I need them to be more in the forefront of my head. Like, stop. You've done the weightlifts. You've done the rugbies. Yes. Timors, get the
Owen froze.
Timors, like those things. So
okay,
yep.
And then he also some boas. We have some boas. He keeps some of the kind that you have. The Argentines. Yep. And keeping outside. We're going to talk about that too because
not right now.
It's not good thing. It would be good for us up here. I think my diamonds would get cold, but might be too cold.
Yeah, I mean. There's a fine line between getting it cold enough and killing it. So, So
details.
Yeah, we got to listen. We got to get you back into training. We're gonna have some sort of like musical montage where we get back into like you breeding snakes again. It's like you picking up a male and putting it in a cage. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's kind of weird, man, to be back in that mindset. It kind of feels like it's my first season again. So if you ever want to experience that, just stop breeding for a couple years and then go back into it.
What do I do with my hands? Wait, nothing. You just do nothing.
Am I doing it right?
No, you're doing it. I don't know. Right now, there's nothing. You should be doing nothing. Cleaning the cages. Everybody is, you've paired your early pairs, and then I have some pairs, which I like to call the fun murdery pairs, where they have to warm up and eat before I will put them together to avoid the fun murdery parts of them. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So other than that, I don't really have much going on. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to hit on, Owen.
Hamburg's in February, so I don't even have any shows coming up. I will be at the January Oaks, but I'm just going to be around. But it's way too cold to ship anything, so I don't really want to plug all that crap. But yeah, no, I'm just Doing what I'm doing.
That is a question that I had for Morelia Minutes at some point. So put
It's
this in.
too cold. Yeah.
Well, I saw a post from Morph Market, and they were saying about how I guess they're doing this shipping thing, and they're kind of like giving a big, huge discounts and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how a lot of people still ship even when it is weather like this, and he kind of thinks it's wrong.
No shit. Like, wait, that's the revelation here is ridiculous. You know, rain is wet. Yes. It's like, okay.
So it's the whole question, should you be mandated not to ship? Like shipping companies shouldn't ship if the weather is a certain way, or should it just be up to the buyer and breeder?
If buyer, seller, and stuff like that. Listen, you know, if you're dumb,
we don't want to get into it now.
Oh no, we can't. We'll do that. Damn it! All right, fine. I'll think of this later.
Yes, give you time to think about it. But yeah, it's really cold up here. What is it like?
Yeah, like
it's got to be probably 11 near you.
Probably.
Luckily for you, you don't have to leave your abode.
I mean, I do. It's 29, but it's gonna snow tomorrow. God damn it!
Good time for putting the snakes together.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's bad, but it's good. Yeah. So,
all right. Well, I guess let's get into it. And let's bring Adam on the show. Adam, welcome. Glad to have you on and chat with you about many, many things.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's weird because we both were on your show first, and then now we have you here. A lot of times it goes the other way around. So it's yeah,
it is weird. I'm a big fan of the show. It's weird. I was watching you guys on full screen, and you're just bantering back and forth, and I was like, oh, I'm on this. I forgot.
yeah. Oh, I have to contribute. Oh crap! Yeah,
I have to answer questions.
I was relaxed and hypnotized.
I've been there before as a guest on other podcasts. I'm like, now I talk. Oh right. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's surreal. I'm a big fan, and you guys have great guests up until this point in time in this episode.
Season 14 is definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
This is the downward slide.
Yeah,
we should have went out on top.
We really should have. We should have bailed 3 years ago. But damn it. So, well, I guess we'll start. I mean, do we want to start with the normal, like, you know, how did you get into reptiles?
Sure.
You know, what drew you to what the animals that you're keeping?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't, I try not to talk about myself too much on the, on my show. So it is kind of weird thinking about that right now. I think my earliest memory with a reptile was a snake. Actually, it's all around my uncle. My Uncle John is like the guy that doesn't fit in with the rest of the family. And I kind of took that mantle as far as, riding motorcycles and having cigarettes and snakes and, all this stuff. I've gotten rid of the cigarettes and the motorcycles, obviously, because I have kids now and everything. But, he had Burmese pythons and green iguanas and all the things a Florida man would have, and Dobermans and, things like that. And I just remember like going over his house was always an experience, right? I'd go over there and the iguana I wanted to go up to, and he's like, no, don't go near it. It's going to whip the crap out of you, and I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I just didn't understand. To me, it was like a green cat,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? No.
And then I remember him having the Burmese pythons, and maybe he had a retic, but I know for sure he had Burmese pythons, and him telling a story about how his friend came over and was holding it and how it latched onto him and must have bit and wrapped his friend. And just like the terror in my heart that I felt just burned those memories. Like I'm sitting there staring at this super placid animal. I think it was an albino Burmese python in this huge wooden cage on his patio. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know, it seems fine, but I'm terrified of like, so that thing could turn on me and kill me, And I think that's when it started. I think the fear turned into fascination, where I just got obsessed with them. And then, all the anoles and everything down here in Florida where I'm at, shaking trees and grabbing them and finding black racers and not knowing if it was poisonous or not, when I find it or found those animals and coming up on them and they're shaking their tail all around if they're cornered, and it's like this terrifying experience. And so yeah, I think that was kind of, and I ended up getting, I think, an eastern collared lizard was my first lizard, and I killed it with metabolic bone disease, and then I ended up getting a bearded dragon and took great care of that. Like, I learned from the collared lizard and had a much better experience with the bearded dragon, and loved animals. Was always at pet shops, all the local pet shops, which there's less and less of now in my area. And those kind of disappeared, which is sad because those are always the ones with the reptiles and the cool stuff.
Cool reptiles.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's
Not
just a fancy corn snake. It's an albino. Like, it's not even that fancy. Yeah.
And the $400 ball python.
Yes.
Het.
Het. Yeah.
So I ended up I got a job as a pet food rep in a retail environment, and then got a job at the pet store and worked there for 5 years. It was one of the chain ones, so it was one of the bigger corporations, and got up to assistant manager. So obviously I was killing it. I was making $13.72, working 70-hour weeks.
Oh man, it's the 72 that really makes it worth it. Yeah,
knocks you into the next tax bracket.
Man. I got
the
to
next level.
I got to fire kids my own age.
He's drunk with power.
I'm no longer wrangling the carts, Kevin. Oh man.
Well, the cart wrangling was the best because then you could smoke cigarettes.
All right, okay. Then you're only wrangling the carts.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you hide out in the parking lot.
Exactly.
This is true. Only the smokers like to go get the carts in the cold.
So yeah, that was about 5 years, and then I got out of that and went into public utilities, and I've been in that for the last 12 years.
Okay,
cool.
And I met my wife at the pet store, and so she's on board with everything I do. She loved animals and everything, so she's just kind of cool with me being a weirdo. It's funny because you talk about this stuff in the office or whatever, around quote unquote normal people, and
right, the normal.
They look at you like, God, it's so. What is wrong with you? Why do you have those?
I don't have to answer to the likes of you. Yeah,
I love the question that you always get asked, like from people. They'll say, "What do you just let them go around your house?" And it's like,
no.
You just let the fish swim in your
everywhere.
Sink? Yeah.
What's wrong with you? No.
Oh boy.
Jesus.
So yeah, that's kind of. I think that's kind of my whole thing, and then and then I got out of reptiles when my wife got pregnant for the second time. It was like the snakes migrated from one room to another, and then out to the garage, and then I was like, you know what, this is not how I want to keep these animals out in my unfinished garage, and I ended up just rehoming them, and it's depressing thinking of how much I was getting rid of them for, and I had some cool stuff at the time, but and stuff I couldn't even get now, a yellow anaconda and things like that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, because of the rules of Florida.
Yeah. So that kind of got out of it, and I think I did dart frogs in between getting back into snakes and getting out of snakes.
Okay.
And I was very successful at those not living. I think it's just the Florida temperatures, our house getting up to 80 degrees.
They really just did not want to live. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't. they didn't do so great, which was really sad because I had a lot of money tied up in some of that. I was into, the really like the little thumbnails and things like
Yeah.
that, Renitomea and all that. I don't know if I just pronounced that not right. It's probably the
I think
first time
so.
I've said it out loud, But
I can't even say say. So what do you want? So you're good.
Yeah.
It's either Sehy, Sehy.
Whatever. At this point, it works.
Yeah, I don't care.
Hey, you done. Perfect. You got it. Yeah.
But yeah, and then my son, now my oldest really wanted a snake, and I thought, yeah, we'll just get the coolest ball python I can, and just get one snake, and that is it, just one really solid ball python that I love.
Right.
And we got her, and I want to say it was 4 weeks later. It was like, and one boa imperator, and that's it. One really nice bi, and that is it.
That's it. No more after that.
And then, boy, I wish I could have a reticulated python, but I can't because I'm in Florida. But what's the other Malayo python? The Timors they're so close and they're so cool, and then it was just, man, out of control from there.
Did your son get into reptiles? Did he want a snake because of you, or was it something that he found on his own?
Probably both. It's so hard to know how much I've influenced him. It has to be both.
Right.
He knows how much I love wildlife and how fascinated I am by, if I spot an invasive iguana, I get so excited to, figure out what kind it is and how the hell it got to this area of Florida and things like that, so maybe that excitement and yeah, probably the frogs too. But yeah, I think it's just, like the nature TV shows and everything, it some of them instill that fear when they see the snake kill the little adorable mouse,
they do play up the music a little bit to kind of make it, oh shit, yeah, all right.
Oh well, and now we're raising rabbits, and we just lost a couple litters to rats.
Rats?
The rats got into the cages and killed the kits.
Wow, rats suck.
Yeah,
Well,
so now my kid is like, death to the rats.
Now I love the snakes.
Yeah,
eat them.
I mean, my youngest literally said, "We will sink them to the bottom of the ocean."
Whoa. I love your enthusiasm, but whoa.
Dial it back a little bit.
Get a little worried.
You're on
here.
11, buddy. Take it back a notch.
Have to be in a.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. Owen, are you still going, or you want me to jump in, or what?
You can jump in. Do you not know how this works?
I don't. I mean, I've done
this
it
is
so long.
Like, come on. It's a show. It's a conversation. 14 years worth of this crap. Come on.
I didn't know how this works, and now I do.
He's seen them pulled behind the
it's like you've seen Oz behind the curtain. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's incredible.
What an amateur.
Yeah, these guys suck. Yeah.
No,
untrue.
Do you have a favorite species that the one that you have to have? I mean, I know you're a fan of Timor pythons, but would you consider that your favorite? Do you have
Hell no. If I could only have one snake, it would not be one that I could maybe sometimes hold,
They do have that downside. Yeah. They were what you could get, not what you wanted. Okay.
Yeah, and I do love them, and they are incredible, but they are a look but don't touch. Snake. Yes. They don't like being touched. Nope. And everybody, you're hearing a lot more and more about this choice-based handling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is not a thing with Timor pythons. There is no world where you will open up their cage and they might say, "Hey, maybe I'll come over and hang out with the hairless monkey sitting on the chair." That's never going to happen.
Never gonna. I'll come see you
I've
today.
been waiting for him all day.
Never
Now he's here.
happens.
I love the pale hairless monkey. He's my favorite person.
I do love him. It's just time for me to show him.
I don't know how I feel about that choice. Basically, the choice-based handling is the idea that they're coming out of the cage on their own, right?
You give them the option and they come to check you out. Which, in my humblest of opinions, if I open the cage and the animal's coming to check me out, the next thing that happens is I move my hand and then I'm bleeding. So it's not the choice base is usually coming with intent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I know some people do it. I always, the idea of just letting a snake loose in my room just terrifies the shit out of me. Because
I guess you have to have a particular type of room, you know.
Well, yeah, well then also you just have to have
proof.
There's no such thing, but you also have to have the mentality because it's like, you know what I feel like doing? Let's let the female scrub run around, and then where the hell to go? Oh my god,
that's not a species.
That's
you do
not
that
a good.
with.
No, it's not.
It's hunting me.
Yeah, exactly. I look at some of my guys, and it's just like, nope. And you know what's the worst one? Is so I'm trying to breed the children's pythons.
Mm-hmm.
Vicious little fuckers.
Oh
like you know, I'm in there. I'm like, I'm gonna get the water bowl. This thing like launches itself off a shelf onto my wrist, and I'm like, why? Like you're so small.
Antaresia to me are very similar to like rosy boas, and if you think about it, their natural history, they're kind of like in these rock crevices, and the little lizard goes running by. They got to grab it quick.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it sucks when you're trying to change the water.
And I think that the choice-based thing, they're operating in a whole different world than like you, Owen. You know, like it's just a different thing.
Yeah.
I think that's more geared to if you're keeping it as a pet, right? Probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even little things like if I open the terrarium to my rhino rat snakes, I'm just going to get lit up. If I give them the choice of coming out, they're going to choose coming out. And then it's the putting them back is when I'm just going to get lit up. I
mean, I don't know what you guys think, but my feeling is I kind of like approach my reptiles like they're fish. If I have to touch them, I will, but I usually try not to.
I tried that. It did not work too well.
Well, I mean,
apparently
they have 400 plus
land.
snakes.
I mean, they need land.
You're touching
beyond,
some snakes.
Which is weird. So, yeah.
It's definitely. I'm not that way. I like touching my snakes. I like holding them. There's certain ones that I really like holding.
Right.
You know, there's certain ones where I open the cage and I'll do the whole choice-based thing, but it's because I know she wants to come out. And that's my Argentine boa. I know she wants to come out. I open that cage door and she'll wake up on her own, and then she's just out and coming across the floor over to me or looking around and all that. And I love holding that snake. I absolutely love it. She's so chill and laid back, and I can put her around my neck and she'll just hang out and just be there and be content as I'm doing stuff around the house or whatever. I can trust her with my kids, you know, obviously supervised, but it's she's like a different thing to me than the Timor pythons.
Right.
You know,
and, I
she's more like a pet.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
So, and you know, obviously there is something of putting in effort for animals that are going to be big or going to make things harder as they get bigger. So if you had a pissed off, mean adult Argentine, that's just going to be hellish amounts of fun later on. So this is the time to work with it. So then later it just wants to lay down and not do much, and it doesn't really care what you're doing. You've never heard it before. So it's that whole thing. And I have kind of adopted that because I wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, my Argentines are on weaned rats. And I'm like, well, how'd this happen?
Holy
wow.
shit.
Yeah,
They do grow fast.
Oh
they
my
grow
God, dude, I
crazy
didn't
fast.
I didn't even try. I'm like, wait a minute. Could you take? Oh, it's gone. All right. Well, huh.
Wow.
Have I
Okay.
been underfeeding you? Like, it's. I thought I was horrible in a different way all of a sudden. So it's that whole thing of that, and they have calmed down because I will say when they're tiny, they're hissy, they're spitty, they're all that kind of stuff, and you kind of want them to drop that because otherwise you get. I mean, my scrubs are twitchy, and that makes me nervous because they're large and twitchy. And I also put the cages above my head. But the idea of a twitchy Argentine is something I would like to avoid. So working with them is that thing. But you're exactly right. There are some where I'm like, that cage, I just got to get through. I got to hook this thing out, put it in a bin, clean the cage, and hook it back in, and hope to God it doesn't decide that it wants to turn back on me. So
Is it going to run at me or towards me?
it's the freaking tiger carpet I got from Eric, and it's just
of course
it's her, and it's one of those like you go through all these other things, white lips, scrubs, and they give me, and it's a carpet python that's like, come here, and I was introducing a male.
Oh, she's a nasty, nasty snake.
Yeah, exactly. I was introducing a male. She didn't give a shit that this male is now in her territory. She wants me. She wrapped up a towel. She bit me twice, and I'm like, yeah.
I've been bit by that snake a lot.
Yeah.
That jungle I sent you guys the picture of today from Nick. That thing, he poured all of his hatred and malice into that animal.
He usually does.
Oh no!
Yeah. He does that for kicks.
I'll show you, Adam.
But she's so beautiful. It's worth it, And she is handleable, but man, she lights me up.
Spicy. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. So I don't know. Let's switch gears for a minute and let's talk about the podcast. What made you want to do a podcast?
Well, you guys and the Retech Lounge, and just having so many questions and being curious about how other people keep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a fan of a lot of the Facebook groups where you go in and you ask a question and then they say, there's a pinned document. Go and read that. It talks about substrate. And I'm like, so I can't ask about a different kind of substrate?
What? No.
Or what about temperatures? And how do you thaw out your rodents? Because I've been doing it this way, and 3 of my rats exploded the other day, and I wanted to throw up when I walked in the room, so there's everybody does everything differently.
Yeah.
And nobody is doing it right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just I love taking in as much information as possible and then figuring out my own way. And so that's what even though you might ask, I actually had somebody once in a Discord group. I asked a question, right? And then it was like, hey, I asked it to another person, another member. I'm like, hey, how do you approach X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
And he goes, the other guy jumps in out of nowhere and says, didn't we cover this 2 weeks ago?
Who gives a shit?
Like,
okay.
All right. So I'm not allowed to ask this question ever again because it was answered one time by a 26-year-old.
Well, now, my question is that if you tried to ask that question 2 years ago, 2 years after, is he immediately going to be like, didn't we answer this 2 years, 3 weeks, and 7 months ago? Like, what?
The data hasn't changed.
I don't know what the data is. Like, all right, yeah.
And no shade on 26-year-olds. I love Gen Z. They're all good. Everything's fine.
I don't remember being 26. Move on.
I was an idiot at 26.
I'm still an idiot.
Yeah,
I was doing this show when I was 26, I think. Yeah.
You might have been.
Yes.
Incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have I don't know, is there do you have a special guest you want to get on? Is there's like a white whale for you, or?
No, I already got you both on.
That's it. We're done. So this is announcing your
Good
retirement,
job,
right?
Adam.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the end of
This
the
is
expert and the
I'm
idiot.
done now. I did what I was set out to do. I got here and now I'm done. Oh, all right.
I do like. I think what I like about it, the show is it's kind of like, because it's just you, it's a different dynamic than most podcasts that I listen to with two. You know what I mean? So it's and I just I think I enjoy that because you're able to. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, like with me, I guess maybe because me and Owen have been doing it so long, but like I remember in the early days to where it would be like I wanted to ask a question on top of the question that he asked, and then it's like, well, I don't want to keep, it's like we have this outline or whatever, and like I don't know, it just took away, and it seems like it's more spontaneous, I guess maybe is the right word, that you're sort of asking the question that would naturally come next, if that makes sense.
Well, I didn't even know you guys have an outline. So I was like, I thought you guys were totally spontaneous.
I mean,
so good job.
It was funny in the early days when Eric would draft these big long outlines, 4 or 5 pages long, and I'm on like page 1 and we're doing the interview, and all of a sudden I just left turn and I see the light leave his eyes.
Yeah.
Like it was, and this is before we actually had like video, so I was the only one who got to see the look on his face, being like, I don't, "You're not.
Why are you doing that?"
Yeah. Good question, Owen. Like, okay, it's just, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it is. I like the one-on-one. I like zeroing in like on somebody.
Yeah.
And talking to them. I really like that. But I've always liked that. I like that in real life. I like talking to people. And working in public utilities and doing shift work. Sometimes you're on shift with one person for 10 hours. And so in that time, you can talk about a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like talking to people and yeah, I like I said, kudos to you guys that you have a structure, and it seems so natural and it flows so well. And I mean, listening to you guys, just your constant banter is so it just flows. It just goes back and forth. And I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm panicking on the inside. Where I'm like, oh my God, I didn't write down enough, like before the show, I'm like, I didn't write down enough questions. I didn't do enough research.
I mean, and if we had any kind of sense in the younger years, we're on hour 4 of this show. It's like we could have done part 1 and part 2. We'd have seasons of shows. Like, oh my God. So
what's crazy though is people love the long episodes.
Well, I get their point from that, because I like to just plug in my headphones and turn on like
exactly
a book or a book series where I don't have to think about it. It just goes for the next 20 hours.
It's you're angry when it's over.
I gotta find something else. Like,
you're like, son of a bitch, 2 hours? You could have went for 3.
I got worried. I when the TikTok stuff started coming out, right? I was real worried about like our show being 2 hours long, because
teenagers with their TikTok.
Well, I'm thinking like if you want to touch the next generation of reptile keepers, you sort of have to have an understanding of like where they're getting content, and if they're getting content and they only have the attention span of like a minute, or how are they going to be able to lock into a 2-hour podcast? But I think that, I don't know if it was Rogan with his long interviews, but it seems like if the content is good, then you want it to be long.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that TikTok content, it's like a different type of content, but like I think
sometimes you want the quick hitters, but then other times, like if you're bored doom scrolling or whatever, you want a quick hitter. But if you're gonna clean your snake room. If you're going to do this, you want the long stuff, because then, like Adam said, you can plug in and then you can just go.
Yeah, it was funny. I was coming home from Sydney on the plane, and I was listening to your show. I think it was with, his name was Jason Patterson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was talking diamond pythons, and he was talking about, we went down to the park and there's all these, water dragons all over the place. And I'm like, no, I just saw them all.
You probably passed them.
They're everywhere.
How will this help me in breeding them? It's like, yeah.
And then it was great to hear somebody talking about like locality diamond pythons and like, and just it inspired me. I was like, we have to talk to more carpet python people in Australia. Like we need to make that a priority.
They're the best. I like Jason. I love Jason. I love talking to him. I mean, he's great. Yeah, he's a friend of mine now, and that's what's so cool about the podcast too, right? Is like, I feel like at the end of every episode, I'm like, I have a new friend. I have somebody I can talk to now.
And that's where shit gets dangerous, because we had that a couple times where I'm like, now I have a new friend, and my new friend keeps this. I want that too. And then it's like,
have you run into that yet?
Yeah. Have you run into that?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I had Brandon Wheeler on to talk about breeding diamonds outside, and I have 2 of those diamonds now.
Yeah.
I think they were in the egg when we recorded.
Right.
Excellent.
Brandon's like, I will get you.
Oh, no, I'll just plant these little seeds here.
I mean, that's the thing, right? If you talking to somebody that's a, good at doing pot, because, sometimes people you think are going to be great and they turn out to not just be. It's not that they're not great, but putting them in the position to talk is
right. We're weird reptile people, and sometimes weird reptile people make weird reptile guests. But it's also just what people are comfortable with, and sometimes this can be daunting. Where you, me, Adam, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to talk with a microphone in front of me. Yeah, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Conversation with friends, but it's like other people, they get nervous about that kind of stuff. So,
I've been nervous. I've been nervous this whole, probably it took me like probably 20 minutes. 20 with this, it took me 20 minutes to calm down, because I'm like, this is crazy. Why do they want me on their show?
You have to.
I'm an idiot.
You got to get to a point where you're
I thought he was the expert, Owen.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, shit. Now I'm totally confused with the premise.
Give us the expert. We want the expert.
Well, the problem is you have to get kind of like, first off, Eric and I are dead inside. So, I mean, that's what makes it easier for us. But you do enough of it where it just seems like it's like flipping on a switch and you just kind of go. But
yeah.
Yeah,
the biggest struggle I had in the beginning was as soon as we would talk to some, I later on in life, what I did is, as we moved through the seasons, I would switch to researching an animal or having it before I would have the guest on. So that way
we always knew you were on a kick, because you'd be like, here are 12 episodes of Dwarf Monitors.
Oh, he's on a Takata kick. He's in the bows now.
Sit here and be like, yeah, it's an act. Like,
that's literally what I'm doing right now.
It's a good way to do it,
Yeah. He'd be like, I wonder how long this is gonna last, and is he gonna give them to me when he's done?
If it didn't have legs, it ended up here. Like,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So you talked about jungle carpets. Let's talk about jungle carpets. What's your collection like?
Yeah. What do
you got?
I have 2.3 right now.
Okay.
And I think I'm solid right there. I mean, obviously I see like 3 or 4 or 5 a day where, I think, well, it'd be good if I had one more female, and, another male wouldn't be a bad thing.
I mean, 2.3. If I get another male, then it's 3.3, and those are even. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so I got one from Nick, and of course, it started out with, I'm just gonna have one jungle carpet python, and it'll be my one carpet python to rule them all, and it'll come from Nick, and it'll be the finest of them all, and then I got that one, and then Roy Stewart lives like 30 minutes away from me, and
Another good one. Yeah.
so that didn't go well. And then I was talking to him, and I think he was like, "Yeah, I just sold one to Mike Curtin," and then I'm like, "What does Mike Curtin have going on over there?"
No, don't go there.
You know?
No.
And then I got another one from Mike Curtin, and then Mid Atlantic, Mike Cross.
Yep. Mike
Cross,
Cross.
So,
Yep.
yeah, those two with their mics and their last names starting with a C. It's
Yeah.
very confusing. So I got two from him.
He makes some
and-
nice jungles.
Yeah,
he does.
yeah. And this year, I mean, he told me, he was like, "This is one of the nicest, clutches I've ever had." And he's like, "Check this out." And he shows me this female with just the most perfect banding.
Really?
Just insane banding. And I'm like, "That one's mine. Don't put that anywhere. That one is 100% mine." Yeah, like it wasn't even maybe, that's mine.
Mike Curtin is a dangerous person to know, because you go over to his house and you're like, "I need a jungle carpet male," and he gives you Mr. Clean and tells you to get out of his house, and you're like, okay. So yeah, it's cool to have that sense of community and built in with that. But so far, you're crushing it with a good jungle starter pack there. I mean, that's you pretty much crossed a lot of the really good bloodlines off.
Yeah, and gosh, there's that, and then somebody, like, once people know that you're into a certain thing like jungles, then people start sending you stuff on social media.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
They're like, did you know Vin Russo? He breeds jungles, and I'm like, oh my god, he does.
And I feel like the hunt for jungles used to be much harder, but like, because it used to be you had to wait for that one person to produce the clutch. Now it's just like, you throw a rock, you're gonna find a really good looking jungle that'll just tempt the shit out of you.
Yep.
It's like, no, stop. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. You're right. If you looked at, I think I went back on social media the other day. I haven't been on since we left.
Visited,
I think, Owen,
yeah.
and I was looking at Philip England from Australia,
Yes.
and he had this jungle that hatched out of the egg.
Mhm.
Holy shit! If this thing wasn't clean, like, it's the cleanest newborn jungle I have ever seen.
I'm
And I said, I know what Owen's gonna say. Did it shed yet?
hey.
But
Was
this
I
thing was
wrong?
so.
Am I ever wrong?
What? One time.
I'm never wrong. Never. I'm gonna be excited for this year with my jungles, just because it's that female's giving me some clean stuff, and then having him be the high yellow. It's like,
oh my
all
god,
right,
yeah.
I'm gonna be okay with that. That's
They're
gonna be
beautiful.
And I don't need any more jungles. But then that's the dangerous position you put yourself in, is once you start producing them, like, I don't need any more jungles. Oh, hello. You can stay here. And that's, now I have uneven, like right now. And Adam, I don't know if you said, are we just talking straight jungles, or were any zebras, any jags?
No, I'm definitely not into jags.
Okay.
But
you don't like a snake upside down. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like the topsy turvy snakes.
All right.
I do like zebras. I don't have that's a hard one that I would have to hunt for a long time, because I'm very particular with my zebras, where there's some that I go too busy, and I don't like too busy.
Right.
And then I see other ones where I'm like, oh, that's super clean, and it's like the perfect balance.
Curtain. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm weird like that. I mean, I told Matt Minatola that I'm not that into striped animals, and he was like, "That's literally what I do." And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know, I understand that, and I mean, no offense, and they look fantastic. I, for some reason, I prefer banded or crazy patterns
Okay.
over a striped animal.
I can
is that
true
true throughout, like with boas and everything too.
Literally everything.
Huh.
Yeah, I know it doesn't make any sense. I'm broken.
But yeah, well, we knew that because it was, you're like,
I also don't like scented candles.
No one likes those. Come
Okay,
on.
good. It's not just me.
Now we're going to discuss.
Now we're going to
Adam
discuss
doesn't
Yankee
like.
Candles and our favorite scent. I, for one,
Stripes
love
and scented
the scented
candles.
candles. That destroys our new segment. What smells and how is it described? Yeah.
Weird smells that
Weird-
we don't like.
Oh man. Oh yeah, you want to talk about weird smells? Like as we were on vacation, my wife was like, "I think something's dead in your snake room," and I was like, "There's no way, nothing,
I
you
didn't
know,
do
whatever."
anything.
And what she was smelling was the like, snake urates, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
you know, because during the winter, I try to be as hands off, other than
Right.
just
There's not a
changing
lot
out
that
the,
much to do. Yeah.
but yeah, it was. She does not like that smell.
It was the pee-pee.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no. Listen. Out of all the things that it could have been, and all the things that it has been,
Yeah.
you like, didn't you leave a pack of rats like out?
Yeah,
one time?
there's a
Like,
huge
God.
difference
no,
between.
there's
There's a
no
huge difference
It's gonna be
between
so much worse.
a regurgitated rat
Ugh.
and urates.
You're just gonna have to get used to it. Just gonna have to get used to the smell. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe she's. I don't know. So
Go
okay,
get
But
it.
now that the last time you came back from Florida, didn't you lose a snake?
Florida.
It was the time you weren't you in
Didn't-
Australia when one happened? When one died and Matt had to go get
You
it?
did lose one, right?
Oh, that was 2019 in Australia. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
just remembering you telling us. Maybe I
Yeah.
listened to an old episode.
Yeah.
I
It was
mean-
yeah, I remember it was the bumblebee tuna. I had two from them, and I forget exactly what happened, but it was one of them ones that just came out of nowhere.
Listen,
Just
yeah.
rolled, you know.
Listen, we've all played Find the Smell. Okay,
It's like, oh my god, I can't stand this smell. Like, sorry, babe, I'm in
Oh.
Australia.
I'm on the other side of the planet.
Oh no.
Yeah. Matt came and saved the day.
He's
you
like,
know.
how long until it's gone? I said, oh, it might be when I come back. I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's so now she's paranoid about any time that I leave. I have to make sure that nothing is eaten, everything is clean. And I'm like, I did that on purpose, so you'll force me to clean before I go.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, that was my,
That's why she goes right to dead snake.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
She thinks everything is a
the
dead snake.
flashback. Yeah,
Really, it's dead mice, you know, or I think I'd rather smell dead snake than regurgitated. Oh my god, regurg is the worst.
yeah,
So
I don't want to smell any of it.
yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good here. Yeah,
yeah. Well, well, I guess, you know, for years of cutting fish, I did that for years, and you know, if you can get used to that smell,
my nostrils are dead anyway. Okay. Yeah.
Eric Burke, fish cutter.
I mean,
fishmonger. It's about right. Me and Lucas, we were both fishmongers.
I mean, that's the worst one of all is the regurgitated fish. You have
Yeah.
not experienced that fun yet.
Oh god,
Mm.
Yeah,
that would be terrible.
it is not good. You know?
Ooh, you know what was terrible? I used to have a Argentine black and white tegu, and her name was Kiwi, and she ended up going to a college. I think she ended up going to a college. That's who I sold her to. It was pretty cool. But what are those little fish that you can get whole, totally whole with eyeballs
Smelts?
and everything? Smelts?
Smelts, mackerel. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they were smelts. I would
Yeah.
feed her those.
yeah.
And she would swallow them whole, and it was super entertaining until it sprayed out the other end.
Other side. Yeah.
And it was like there was still bones in there, and it was
yeah.
just like this black fluid with bones in it and scales, and it was ugh.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it was nasty.
Okay, now that we've talked about
Now
the
we've gone
nasty
on
stuff. Okay, so banded jungles. Yeah, I think so. You're a fan of like Johnny Blaze. You know that jungle? Have you ever seen?
Oh,
that
yeah.
one?
50-50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something about a really perfectly banded jungle carpet that I can really get into. You know, the other ones that I like that are banded are Darwin's. Like I think
Yeah.
Darwin's with that, they have like that perfect band.
The banding, but then also the yellow tipping is my favorite thing. I
In
mean
the black?
that yeah, in the black. That's that. So like I like the banding with really yellow and really black, but then I also like on the other end of the spectrum, the yellow tipping is just, I think it's like, I don't know. It just, every time I see it, it blows me away. And I feel like too, those animals age really well where their yellow stays really crisp and yellow because it's like, it's just so strong in their genetics. But that, I mean, that's that female that I got from Nick has that yellow tipping like crazy, and I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I thought I had. Maybe I have a. I don't know if I have. Hold on. All photos. I mean, Owen, you can talk. Go ahead.
I could. There's a, I mean, there's a bunch of different mixes with that. So aside from banding in certain animals, is there another look that you're looking for in, say,
Oh yeah, there she is. Look at her.
Yeah.
So that's what he's talking about with the tipping. Really,
Oh yeah, I know.
No, I know you do. Owen.
I know.
So here, Owen, this is a jungle carpet
What kind of
python.
animal is this?
Yes.
Weird. Could have sworn it was a ball python.
Shiny eye.
Boa. Yeah.
This is a python, okay?
Thank God you said something. Weirdest looking corn snake I ever saw.
Yes. He told me it was a morph.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a beauty. That's a beauty for sure.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I think I also had a picture of one of the one I got from Roy, and she's beautiful too. And it's crazy how the pattern on their face like changes. It makes it look like their face structure is different. Where if they have a lot of that yellow down their snout, it makes their face look longer, and then if they have like the small pattern, like her face looks more kind of scrunched. But yeah, she's such a cool animal. I can't get enough of jungles.
The weird patterns on the snouts can sometimes just make them look weird, like
Yeah.
face wise, because your eyes can't really figure out. But then in some pictures, you're like, oh no, it has a whole head, it has a face, like it's there. It just doesn't look head on. It looks weird. So I get that.
Yeah, they they definitely is. So you're going for like trying to reproduce. Is that the idea that you want to get more tipping? And is that sort of
I would love that. Yeah, and the male that I got from Mike Cross is has a lot of tipping, and so I think that will make a good pairing eventually.
So are you done with carpets after the jungles, or were you talking about adding a different type of carpet or Morelia?
I think that if I get out of or if I get my my building built or delivered, whatever, I think I'm done with carpets, and it'll be Liasis. I really want Maclots. That's Maclots. That's really what I love those snakes. They're so cool looking. And that or olives. I don't know.
Good. I was talking about how I'm going to rearrange my room soon, and my wife's like, "Well, Eric's taking the olive python," so I'm like, "Oh yeah, he didn't know it, but I'm going to come over. I'm going to go over a couple months and build him cages. Like he doesn't, Rory will let me in. Like it'll be fine." So
what is this?
Yeah, what the hell is this? Your olive enclosure? Goodbye. Yeah, so.
Damn it. Oh, that's cool. So Liasis is do you see yourself like going trying to complete the whole set type of thing, or is it
hell no?
Like, oh no,
and that is a fate shared only by the insane. So,
yeah, I'd be happy with just the Max, and maybe the olives, but I'd be really happy with a pair of Max. They're so cool.
You pass on Savuensis.
Well, I had a bad experience. I had a Savu for I think 2 or 3 days. It might have been hours. It might have been 23 hours, something like that. But I had it, and I was given it was given to me by a breeder in Florida, and she said, "It's you can work with it, And I went in there with a leather glove, and it came at me so hard and latched onto that glove. And I think it was on my arm for like an hour. Like to the point where I went and sat down and I was just like, and every time I'd slightly move my arm, it would cinch down tighter. To the point where I ended up just going to the bathtub and I was like, a little cold water should,
that'll do it.
But yeah, that was a wild experience. So yeah, I don't know. And
I mean, I will say out of all of them, Savus are probably the most jumpy, high strung. Like it's almost like the ones that just don't give a shit are definitely Olives and Max.
Yeah.
And then I would say like Dunai after that. And then you're starting to get into the jumpy ones, which are Savs and Waters. So
yeah.
Wild water pythons are pretty chill.
Yeah, there's only that captive border bred ones that are dicks. Like I don't know why.
The guinea ones, man. Holy shit.
They know I just want to get the clutch and then I'm going to sell their ass is what they do. Yeah.
So you're building a room outside?
I would, at some point I want to get some sort of structure that I can move everything into. So get all my cages. Cause right now I'm in my office and the office is maxed out. And the formal dining area is going to be expanded into next. So I should have 11 feet of cages from wall to wall delivered in the next couple weeks. And that's going to take up a lot of space there. And then the Argentine that I love so much, I'm like, I want her in like a 8x2x2 or an 8x3x2, something like that. Something where she can just,
be.
Just be.
Yeah.
And I don't have to feel guilty ever, So that's kind of what I want. And I've been looking into metal buildings, and but then I see they've got these 12 by 32 foot long sheds, right? OSB, all framed out with metal siding, metal roof. And they bring it out to your property and you just have the concrete blocks there. You don't even have to arrange them. The delivery guy arranges all the blocks and then sets it down and levels it.
Nice.
And so I'm like, that would be such a fun project to just go in there, have spray foam insulation put in, do the PVC walls like Ryan did in his room, or William is doing in his big building there, and then just do like PVC wood flooring and get a mini split put in to keep a constant temperature, and nice, we're off to the races. And that's what I feel like would be the best move and the most economical move, because then I don't have to pour a slab, all that. I can get it plumbed and have it go right into my septic. And so I can have a slop sink in there and a dishwasher and
shut up. It's the best thing ever. Okay.
I truly believe that. I'm Team Owen on this all the way.
I'm not anti dishwasher. It just, I don't know.
It's amazing. I wish I could get one of those ones that they have in industrial kitchens, like a bottle thing, like where you put them all in and then you just put the hood down. I want that. Like we're just like flash cooks everything. Oh God, yeah. So.
Oh man. So if we throw it away at work, you'll come and get it.
Well, no, don't do that because I don't have a building. So I keep looking at my backyard going like, if we take out the carport and put in a 2-car garage, and Melissa's like, oh good, we can park them inside. No, fuck the cars.
No.
No. They go on the street. Like it's,
parallel parking.
I don't give a shit. So
okay, that's cool. And you being in Florida, I guess you're not necessarily I guess the issue we would have, Owen, doing that would be insulating it.
Yeah.
Winter is bad. Yeah. That's part of it. I always talked about how they have trailers that are used for like industrial offices that they drop off at work sites and shit like that, that have their own HVACs like attached to them. And I always thought that'd be great just to drop on your land and make that into a snake building. But then I'm like, if it breaks, then that's a whole probably big fucking thing to get that fixed is the HVAC. But Bill had one of those. It looks like what you put in like a motel room. It can do heat, it can do cold, it can do both. kind of thing. You just attach it so that it vents out into the wall, and it just kind of takes the constant temp. So, I mean, I would do that, but the thing is, out here, you drive down around me, we got nothing but farmland that has structures built by the Amish, and it's like barns and giant garages that you can have just dropped on your property. And I think I drive by at least one a week where I'm like, that would be the one I would pick. Like, and it's not good for me out here. I need to move.
I mean, that the mini splits, that's exactly what you're talking about. They're so popular down here because even like the HVAC for your house can't keep up in the summer.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people get the mini splits on their bedrooms so they can run their HVAC at a lower or at a higher temperature rather, not stress it so much. And the mini split can keep, then they're sleeping in 68 degree cold, right? Because it's just doing that room. So that building is like 300, we'll say 350 square foot. So it's a pretty small space, but it's more than enough for caging and racks. And also I can move all the podcasting equipment over there, the computer over there. And then I don't have to say, baby, do you mind taking the kids out to the playground so the house is nice and quiet, which is what it is every time. So, I can just not be annoying or less annoying than I already am. And
I should just try to see that if one of Eric's neighbors moves, I'll just convince Melissa that we have to go back down that way, and then Eric and I'll just have a building
that'd be
right
so cool.
there, and then that'll be it.
Yard down, have a huge building.
There we go. There it is. Yep.
I like it.
Done.
You're on my side of the building. Get out of here.
Get the hell out of here. Well, my side gets fed. That's not my fault. They keep trying to get over here.
Nick.
Hey, we're going to talk about diamond pythons, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
Some of us have them and are holding them away from other people, and then some of us just kind of keep patiently waiting.
So you got your pair from Brandon, right?
I got.
I'm just gonna gloss over that. Let's keep going.
So anyway.
So Adam,
don't ignore me.
Feels good to cab them, doesn't it?
So Adam, tell me about your diamond pythons. I did not get a pair. I got 2 females.
2 females.
Smart.
Okay,
that's smart.
Yeah, I figured get going on the females. I can get a male. I can get a pair from somebody else. My goal is to have 2 trios in outdoor enclosures. That's my goal. So I want and so the gears are grinding on that. But yeah, that's what I kind of want to end up with. But it's it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I'm taking my time on that because mo money, mo snakes.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are ones you kind of want to, I feel like you should be picky about your diamond pythons.
Yeah.
Like you just want to be like diamond. Like you want to make sure you get the right ones.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask that question. Are you in the camp of they have to be super pure, or do you not care about that, or where do you?
Well, I mean, so with Brandon's animals, he doesn't have any lineage information on them, and so I'm just okay with that. You know, it is what it is, and I figure that what I'm gonna do is have a trio where I don't care, and then have a trio where I do care about lineage.
Okay.
So have a lineage trio where it's, yes, this is X line and X line, and it's, verified and pure and all that. And then the other one's just, it's a little iffy, but who cares? They're pretty and they're cool animals nonetheless. And I feel like, I don't know, I care less and less about lineage as time goes on. Like I feel like, I listened to a couple podcasts and I got really obsessed with it for a little bit where I was like, oh, it's the most important thing, and then it's like, or is it just important that the animal looks incredible?
It's a double-edged
and
sword.
I'm not saying to like get a 50-50 jungle diamond and just look the other way and go, nah, that's my diamond python. I'm not saying to do that.
This is my diamond python. That's an Angolan. Oh,
but it looks nice.
It looks nice, but it's not that. But I get that, and I think people do end up doing that, where you kind of bend this way and then you snap back to true as far as lineage and stuff like that. And it's just I've gotten to the point now where it used to be I will get all the bare bones and base stuff, and then I will do my mad scientist myself, and I will not care about what goes on other places. But like right now, I bought a hypo carpet from Kyle and Jason and Eric, and that thing's gorgeous, and I love that thing. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck whatever I'm doing. I'm just gonna get another one, and then those two will just be over here. And I've jumped now where I was going to go. It's like, so that I kind of the same thing. When you get to it down to it, who cares? You know, it's very pretty. You're doing what you're doing, and you're not as long as you're not misrepresenting the animal, do whatever you want.
Yeah. Like Brandon was very open and upfront about, you know, all that. Like, hey, I don't have the lineage information. So that was then it's my choice, right? Do I want those or do I not?
Is that what matters to you? Is that like if that's what matters to you, then you're gonna skip over Brandon's stuff. Yep. Which, if that's what matters to you, don't compromise. Buy one of Brandon's and then bitch about it. Like, that's not how it, like.
Yeah, no.
Do you feel like, I guess, like, I'm always torn on this issue, right? Because there's a part of me that's like thinks about, you know, having that species in particular be what it's supposed to be. But then the other side of me says, well, you don't even know if that's really what happened or how it got here, or even if that's really legit to begin with.
What it is,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, what's his name? When he was talking on your show, he was saying about the Morelia milkshake. I thought that was great. I was like, oh, that's so great. But I mean, even if now, I think if we imported, let's just say that they make it legal to come from Australia, you know, and you can get it. And like what he was saying is it's like a lot of like the locality stuff that like Australia was known for years has sort of changed to where they're just focused really on the morph stuff, which I get, you know, they're cool too. But like, I don't know. I guess it's because we can't have it. So like in my brain, is the fact of having what you call pure anything, you know, because retics kind of go through this as well. It's like, is that just a badge that you can flash around, or does that really matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it just like is it our egos that we are saying like, oh, I got the pure one and not the?
It's a selling point. You know, it's something that sets your stuff aside from other people's. But yeah, I think it's part of that. But
you know, when it went out the window for me, the Argentine that I have, she is the older one. She came from Travis Johnson, living legless, and he said, I don't know the lineage of that animal.
But you know what it is, though. Like, it's an Argentine bow.
Yeah,
it couldn't possibly be anything else.
And he he is obsessed. He's obsessed with lineage, right? Like that. Right. That's very important to him, and I respect that. And that's great that he is. But like you just said, he knows what it is,
right?
But you know, so I don't know. That's kind of when that sort of went out the window for me, was when I was like, all right, so I don't know the lineage of her, but we know what she is, and I don't care. Like, I'd be really surprised if she was crossed with something at some point in her lineage.
It doesn't look like that. Yeah, I'd be. Yeah, no, that would. Yeah.
Yeah, I do get that. Is that a big thing with bows? That is kind of a big thing with bows, right? Because you have the morph boas that are kind of crossing all the different
for sure,
species and species.
Boas are like carpets. There's certain things that popped up in certain species, subspecies, localities, and there are certain rules that, you know, there's certain people out there that are pulling the Dr. Frankenstein, and they're like, I don't care, and then there are other people who are straight down the line.
You know, for me, when I was doing the lineage stuff, for me, I just like the history more so than caring about, because obviously I have stuff that has undocumented animals in it. Sure. And I don't know, man. I think the more I looked into the jungle group of people, and then I would look at the diamond group, and it was like the diamond group is just fanatical about purity, which I understand. But then the jungle group is just like, look at this pretty snake, dude. Yeah, but that's not whatever. And it's like, I don't give a shit. It's yellow and black, and it's beautiful.
I think they started with the whole. I think jungles started with lineage lines, and everything had to be this way. And then we got to a point where a bunch of people's animals died, and it was they started that's where they started bending, where it's like, but what make pretty black yellow snake? And they didn't really give two shits. They just went and got something else, and then it just became a grab bag. So
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm waiting for coastal, because how many locality coastals are now gone, or maybe got one or two people working with them?
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Eric. The history part is really cool about it, right? I mean, like, I like looking into the history of like the Argentine boas, right, and their natural history and their native range and everything. So the purity in that regard is cool to have a better appreciation for the animal, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're quickly becoming one of my favorites because they're just so big. And
they're the best.
And they don't give two shits about whatever's going on. Yeah. And they just want to chill. And now that they're not being hissy little bitch babies, and they just want to like, they just want to chill. They just want to chill.
Fucked up all the time, man.
My Hog Island, like, they've switched. The Argentines calm. Hog Island's fuck you. It's like, okay. So I can't win. So, but I love them. And they were an obsession that I had for years. And then I finally took the plunge on that. And it was just one of those like, oh, but if I get them, then I lose space for this. So,
because they get pretty big, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to take out an 8-foot cage for them. Like, it's gonna have to be something.
They're like one of the biggest.
They're the ones who are gonna spell doom for the retic fun. Isn't like, it's like, listen, you. So that's what's going to end up happening.
Okay,
there.
I got you.
So
you still have that thing, huh?
Nobody wants it. I keep trying to give it away, but nobody will take it, and I don't want to sell her.
So you should just get more retakes.
No,
they're out there. They're out there for sale. You can get one.
No.
Lots
and
of people.
I thought about that, where I'm like, I'll grab a male and I'll breed it, then I can check off retic, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Like,
no. There's no need to check that.
I have a fever or something.
Not
like,
for you, man. You have enough projects that you got going on there. You don't need to check big snake box.
I started walking around and being like, these things locked and these things locked. And, okay. Well, I may have. Well, yeah, it's Future Owen's problem, and that guy's a dick. So,
So, what about keeping them? How are you keeping them? What's your approach with keeping them?
Diamonds. With the diamonds. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got totally derailed there. I do want to. We haven't talked about Argentines, right?
No.
We kind of keep hitting on them.
Barely. All right. We'll have special time for Argentines.
Kind of like the Timors. We kind of keep dancing around them.
Yeah.
But
it was in the outline, but I forgot to print it out.
There was an outline?
Yeah, I sent it to you, Owen. What the hell? No wonder you're not reading the. I put the top. Owen,
I didn't know.
We're just all sitting here.
All right. Well, it's just. Whoops.
At the very end, it says, "Get Adam canceled. Screw that guy."
Immediately. Oh yeah, it does say, "Don't let him." Yeah. He's coming for us. Okay, yeah, I see it.
So eventually, you want to keep your diamonds outside, but right now, you're not keeping them.
Yeah, right now they're in Iraq, and I have my herp set to, I think, 92, but I think their hotspot is like 84.
Okay.
Like 84 to 86, depending on the ambient temperature.
Okay.
Obviously it's working harder, right now. It's been going, guys, we're dying here in Florida. It's been like 40 at night. You don't even understand.
Poor babies.
It comes through the walls to get us. We had to use the heat the past 3 days.
Oh my God.
It's so cold here. Like what, 11 degrees?
20 degrees.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Here.
So if you guys did a snake building, I think the spray foam insulation, you'd be fine. You'd be fine.
Yeah.
That's what Ryan's gotten. It's like negative 137 where he is.
I mean, yeah, and he breeds all his Indo species.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we have
true.
Australian and Indo. You know.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
I think that I heard that before about the spray foam for
I think you could
if
do
we were
it.
going to do a building. Yeah.
I think we can.
It's
do
expensive.
It is.
Is
Would it be easier just to find a building to, like one of those block buildings with an attached garage to rent? We'll figure this out off air.
Yeah.
We'll just
Yeah.
need to finally move on that, because if we don't do it, if we don't do it eventually, Lucas is going to be very upset with us.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, so I just, right now they're just in a rack, and they're the coolest snakes, I think, out there. Like, I've totally fallen in love with diamonds. I think that
Nice.
they might be my favorite python. And I mean, there's probably an episode of me saying, I'm not interested in diamond pythons, they're stupid.
Cancel again.
Get the hell off our show. Yeah.
Sorry, that was my impersonation of somebody from New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's about right.
I think I know a couple of those people. But yeah, right. Yeah.
So, but they're so cool. They don't want to bite me
Okay. Yeah.
at all. They have no interest in biting me, but they're super hungry all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is such a cool combination. You don't want to bite me, but you're also hungry at the same
You
time.
also want food. It's just
Yeah, whereas like with the jungles, it's like, oh, this is a super nice little jungle, and he just doesn't want to eat. Or he does want to eat, but it's only birds. He just likes to eat birds, you know.
Right.
Or then you have the ones that want to eat your face off, and they love to eat. You know, they love to eat so they can get energy to try to kill you one day.
Yep. They can plot. Yeah.
But the diamonds are like that. They're like this super chill, laid back snake that I can go up to them, like literally put my fingers in front of their face, and they're super interested in it. And they're like, oh, it's the monkey. Never mind.
I'm
not gonna eat it.
that.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how food driven they are. It really is. Yeah.
Yours are the same way. That's what I wanted to ask you. Are yours chill as well, where they're,
Yep.
huh?
Yeah.
His one reduced pattern. I'm pretty sure you could juggle it and it wouldn't give two shit.
Yeah, they're
Like
they're
it just
super chill.
doesn't care.
But if I go to the cage, like if I walk over there right now, well, it's looking at me like, where's the food? I can see
Yeah.
it. It's sitting on the
You
grass,
asked,
like,
oh, you're here.
it's like perched up, ready to go. It's just
Yeah.
waiting. Like, there's the
Like-
monkey. He's sitting at the table.
Yeah.
When are you gonna bring me my food?
There's a rat here somewhere. I know it. Yeah.
Do you guys know Jeff Croce?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I told him, it's funny because you just said the hanging looking for food. I said, dude, I want a sleeve and I want it to be a stylized diamond in that position.
Nice.
You know, because that's like my favorite thing
Yeah.
is seeing my snakes in that position where
What
they're
is that?
The
Well-
English blues, the drop down S.
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Those,
Yeah.
I love it too.
It's
Yep.
so cool. It's like my favorite. It's like it's my favorite behavior to see, and that's why I love having all these sticks and everything.
Yeah. I'm about to say, you start designing the cages so you can see them do it.
Yep.
The roughies behind me have rock ledges, but my Timors, there's a big branch that literally goes out flat and then bends down, and the female Timor will sit on it and she'll hang straight down and look straight down. And it's perfect. It's fantastic. It's like
so cool.
I made that. I put that there hoping she would do it, and she does it all the time. And I'm like, correct. You know,
I think that's what sort of like propelled me on the thing to move from racks to cages. Well, you know, herping was one of it, but like when I had the little diamond python when it was growing up, the reduced pattern that's here, I think when she was growing up, she was in a smaller cage and whatnot. But she would do it. And like, I love the fact that they would come out when the light would come on and they would bask, and then they would go back when when it would turn off. And then when it turned on again in the afternoon, it would come out, and then it would go away, and then it would come back out. And then you go down into the dark room, and there they all are just hanging like, bring me the food, you know?
And that's what I love hearing on Reptile Fight Club from Justin is he talks about how he'll change his enclosures and then see different behavior from the animals. And
Yeah.
that's like one of my favorite things too, is that, you know, when you change something around in their environment, all of a sudden you get a different behavior out of them. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's super cool. Or, you know, I mean, I just put my pop one in a 4x2x2, and he pooped like 2 or 3 times in like a day. And I was like, oh, because the rack, you couldn't move around in the tub so much. And now that you're in there, you're moving around and everything's coming out, you know, like just the exercise, the going up and down the branches and all that. It got everything moving.
Yeah.
You know, not a behavior I wanted to observe, but I observed it nonetheless.
It's certain stuff like when you move babies up to larger rack systems or larger cages, larger tubs, things like that, you start seeing more and more of that kind of stuff, where you start seeing, you know, that weird baby that had like too big of a head for its body now all of a sudden is like building muscle and growing. You're like, oh shit, like it's doing that. I mean, I just started going nuts with the 3D printed perches in tubs and things like that.
Yeah.
To give them more stuff to climb on, more interactions. And they had the ones that go into 15 quart bins that I think are totally necessary in order to make that a worthwhile cage.
Yeah.
But then they have larger ones that can go into 32 quart bins. So now it's like I got the high box, the climbing area, and then the water bowl underneath. And adding perches, shelves, ledges, all that kind of stuff is so much better, and I love it so much more. I didn't realize I had a head exanic carpet python that was like apparently desperate for a ledge, because I put it in his cage and he's never come off the goddamn thing. Like he's up there and that's where he is, and he peeks over and watches me do stuff, and that's it. That's fine.
The when I went to when we went to Sydney, a couple of things that stood out to me with the diamond pythons. I didn't see one, which was kind of a bummer, but
Yeah.
we were in the habitat and it's very rocky and very it's like the rocky outcrops. Owen, you probably understand this. It's like the rocky outcrops of the Northern Territory.
Yeah.
But colder and with a forest around it.
Got it.
With a lot of green.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's interesting. The rocks that was everywhere, and like, you know, just the I don't know. It was very different than the other carpet python habitats that I've been in.
That's a dream of mine, going to Australia one day.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
mine
it's the
too.
best.
Mine
the
too. We
best.
got to go back. Just
We are 2026.
I know.
Kimberly. If
Don't
we
tease
live
me.
that long, or
Don't taunt me.
we make it that long.
If we're still speaking by then, I don't know. Yeah.
So with you keeping them outside, I'm curious, have you thought about how you're going to set them up? Are you just going to rely on the sun? You're worried about things getting in, them getting out? You know, have you thought through that process? Are you working through that process now?
Yeah, I've started thinking about that, and you know, eventually I want them to be in 8-foot by 8-foot enclosures, with probably, you know, somewhere heated to go, you know, but obviously like that's got to be like probably 3 or 4, maybe like 3 years off. I would think,
Right.
you know, before I could trust 3 snakes to be in like a 8-foot by 8-foot area. Like I need them to be visible.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to lose them, you know, and like they need to be big enough that they won't be able to find any kind of crack or something to exploit.
Little thing to get out. Yeah.
Yeah, especially here in Florida. I mean, that's like
I was
they're
going to
like
ask that. Yeah.
yeah, like they'd be prime to become an invasive species.
Are they?
Which would be so cool, by the way.
Yeah, great. But then screw that. I'm going to get my own diamond pythons. Like, but is there restrictions for this kind of stuff? Because I can't imagine Florida Fish and Game is cool with outdoor enclosures, or they just don't care.
Not yet.
Problem. Okay.
Not yet. But I have a friend that is with US Arc Florida, and he said you might want to build an interstitial cage, you know, so a
Something
cage within a
inside.
cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, just so you can get ahead of the legislation
Yeah.
that is almost inevitable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a thing. I mean, obviously I'm going to do my due diligence. I don't want anything getting out. I don't want to, you know, lose
Yeah.
my animals. That would be horrible. And also I care about Florida and the native animals and all that. And I have to say all this legally, so I
mean,
don't get in trouble.
if you were to announce on the podcast, be like, my diamond pythons get out, like you'd come out of your house the next day and wonder what I'm doing, wandering around your property with a flashlight and a hook. You know,
Oh, Owen's out there. That's incredible how fast he got down here.
Yeah, just
what the heck?
Did he drive or fly?
Like, yeah, no, it's just,
I think he walked.
It's so weird. Hey, you get out of my cigar.
So yeah, I'm gonna start with probably a smaller enclosure, maybe you know, 6 by 3 by 3 or something like that, and just kind of almost do like a planter box with a frame. I'm kind of torn on it. It needs to have drainage, right? With the rain we get here in Florida, planter box might not work. It's got to have drainage. So maybe wire mesh on the bottom, cocoa chunk in there, and then maybe put in a couple cat pans or something to put plants into, live plants, something like that. I'm just kind of playing with ideas right now.
Okay.
I know I've got probably a year before, you know, I want to put them outside. I'll probably ease them into it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What's the transition?
Yeah, from what I've heard, putting them into David Feinberg, I think I had him on, and he you know, he works with diamonds and everything, and he was talking about you know, putting them out in the spring. You know, so putting them out when it's super neutral temperatures, not too cold, not too hot. Let them acclimate to that. It's going to gradually get hotter, and they'll acclimate to that, and then they're going to acclimate into the winter. So when they do move out, it'll probably be springtime. And I actually have a male I want to get from him. It's pretty incredible looking, and so I'm hoping to get a male from him. You know, maybe come springtime. That way that male can, because that male's already, I think, almost 2 years old. I can move it directly out into an outdoor enclosure.
Okay.
That's a good plan. Because I think the one thing that when we were at Scott and Ty's place, they kept diamond pythons outside. They kept imbricata too. But the you know, something that Scott told me when he was talking to me, he said that he noticed when he was keeping his snakes outside that their scales became harder. They were tougher almost or something. And I didn't understand what he was talking about until we held them. And it was like, yeah, like, you know how snakes will feel like velvety smooth almost?
Yeah.
These are not, they're like,
These are not them. Just,
yeah, it's almost like
they're indoor snakes.
yeah, it's like you're like a callus on your hand almost or something, you know? So
yeah,
I don't know. Made me think like, I wonder if that's how they're supposed to be. And, you know,
I imagine it, like if they're outside and, you know, they got to use the armor against wind, rain, stuff like that. And also they're getting direct UV light from the sun and maybe a little bit too much or something like that. Yeah, I imagine it's going to get tougher.
yeah.
Yeah, especially also they're rolling around on sticks, mush, plants that you have in there, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you worried about things getting in? Like
100%.
Yeah.
100%, especially with what just happened with the rabbits.
Yeah.
You know, like if rats got in and ate one of my diamond pythons, there would be an extinction of rats in my area.
Oh my God, I'd be terrified.
The bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
That scares. Yeah.
That's almost
shout out to Benjamin.
That almost gives it more of a, like, you almost want to have a big, I want to say aviary, almost like a big kind of enclosure and then a cage inside, because then it's like, oh no, the rats have gotten through the first wire. Well, them, I'm gonna put a bunch of freaking traps outside away from the diamonds. Go to hell. Like,
I mean, Ron keeps his outside, right?
Ron keeps his stuff outside, and I was talking to him at Daytona with his emeralds, and he was doing that, but I think they also had the ability to come inside too, in case anything was trying to get nuts, because I think he wanted to have the option.
He's got a big steel building and everything rolls right in.
Right. And it's like, oh shit, a hurricane
everything comes in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I was jealous of that.
You do have to have a contingency plan for that, right? If you have to pull them inside.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I in my mind, I'm just thinking, Rubbermaid totes.
Yeah, right. I mean, eventually it comes to the point where screw the cage, get the damn animal inside.
Oh yeah.
And then if it whatever needs to get fixed, you can fix later. Like,
Yeah, and going through hurricanes my entire life, if the wind can pass through, you're pretty much good. So a screened enclosure, as long as I don't put I'm not putting a roof on it.
Right.
I'm not everything. So it's it's going to be 100% screen. And if they need shade up in a quarter, I'm just going to put some lattice up there and kind of, block a little bit of those rays.
It's a heavy tarp shit or whatever they put for.
Exactly. Yeah. There's temporary workarounds.
Right.
Shit that you're not going to be mad about if you're like, whoop, there it goes. All right. Well, I got 4 more in the shed. Like, yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. When this last hurricane came, my rabbit hutch is pretty solid, but it has a metal roof on it. And so part of the hurricane prep was going with my drill and taking that entire metal roof off that I had just put on 2 weeks prior when I built the goddamn hutch, and bringing all that heavy steel into the garage and stacking it up, So yeah, you kind of have to take the sails off all the ships, if you will.
It makes sense. I'm looking at these beautiful cages you have behind you, and I'm curious, like what cages are you using there?
So these ones here are custom reptile habitats, the one right behind me. And then these ones here are Maze Exotics, and he's a local guy. So he's able to kind of build me whatever the hell I want, whatever size I want, however much ventilation, all that. And he's got a guy that's going to do delivery for me, which is super cool because he's like maybe an hour and a half away. So I was thinking like, all right, if I take the truck up there and do 3 trips, and I'm like, God dang, that's a lot of time on the road. And I'm like, how much to deliver?
Yeah.
Eventually
with a trailer and just bring it out, and I'll just shake the guy's hand, and like all the money's going to him. I don't have to tip. All right, good. We're solid. We're solid.
Done that. Yep.
I mean, what's see how it has the box on the bottom, like the rec that sort of out? Like, what's that?
That's a spacer. So that's where my heat lamp is and the UVB and all that. Cause I don't like fixtures hanging down in the enclosure.
Yeah. I can't imagine why.
Yeah. I like the aesthetics. I like snakes not unplugging things. I like, especially these T5 bulbs. It's really bad for them to get unplugged while they're on. So you're losing life of the bulb. I made the mistake and did that with one of the heat bulbs the other day, and it popped. It was on for like 6 minutes, and I'm like, cool, there went $6.99.
Yeah. Hooray.
Super.
Excellent. That's so what I wanted. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that look.
Yeah.
That's that's what drew me to custom reptile habitats. I think that I was initially drawn to the cages. I think it's spelled with a K.
K, yeah.
And they were working on a spacer or something, or they said that it was something that they were gonna do eventually to kind of clean up their thing. And I think Zen Habitats and a couple of the other ones have like some things that you can buy, some spacers. But I like the aesthetics of it. It keeps everything nice and clean.
Cool.
Yeah, I was watching one of your I guess it was like a short video you did. and you were showing about how you take the 16-ounce deli cup and you put the yeah, that was pretty cool. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, nobody, you know, it's like I put all this time and effort into making these stupid shorts and reels and everything, and nobody watches them. And I'm like, I'm just not going to do this anymore.
I did.
It's so much.
Did it. I watched it.
Well, thank you guys. You know, I appreciate you too.
No one watched our shit either.
Screw everybody
Like,
else.
it's
I'm like, look, guys, I'm making custom plants. This is so much fun. And everybody's like, shut up.
my favorite is that people always asked us our tips and tricks of breeding, and we shot a bunch of videos one time and we put them out there, and then like the following year people are like, tips and tricks for breeding, and I'm like, we already did this.
Oh man, you're like the pin post
Put
guy.
the snake skin in the water.
You know, okay, so that was my first interaction with you, Owen. Was because I was just searching through all of your older episodes, and I found like the how to breed carpet pythons, and I would take my dog on a walk and listen to it in chunks and commuting and all that, and I took a screenshot and I'm like, hey Owen, I really appreciate the effort you guys put into this, and you were like, thumbs up, and I'm like, he doesn't like me at all. Eric talks to me. Owen's mean, but Eric is nice, and I know this now.
This is
Yes.
that was never anything we tried to hide. That was always how.
Oh, I know. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna try talking to this guy, and
Never.
he's gonna prove me wrong. He's gonna be so nice, just like Eric is.
Never.
I'm like, Eric is the nicest guy in the
We knew
entire
that.
world. He's talking to me
knew
about
that.
Timors. He doesn't even have Timors, and he talks to
had
me about
Timors.
Timors.
He had Timors. He gave them to me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Then I was
talking
like,
to
Owen, do you have any Timors available? No.
No.
Okay, I'll find someone else.
Piss me off. That's more of the like, do you have any Timor pythons? No, because if I say anything other than that, then it's the can you add me to your list? There is no damn list. Like
I think you actually said Ryan Young.
yeah, Ryan stuff.
He said no, Ryan Young.
Just
I was like,
right
oh,
to-
okay, Ryan Young. Sounds
Owen
good.
right
is so
to
busy
Ryan.
cleaning snakes and feeding snakes that he
Yep.
can only answer in one word
Answer
sentences.
questions. Yeah,
I think Ryan might actually owe you a little bit because
I would say that, but I pawned off my ring pythons on him, so to be determined. If my female kills his male, we're even. So yeah.
yeah. What the hell were we talking about?
Your
I think
plant.
Oh yeah. So the plants, I went to Hobby Lobby, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
Being a weirdo like us, you know, you're walking around the craft store looking for things that you can abduct and repurpose
Yeah,
for your snakes, and you know, you're trying not to make eye contact with all of the 50, 60-year-old women in Hobby Lobby that are staring at you like, what's he doing in the floral section?
You're like they know I'm up to something. You're like,
Nice arrangement he made. I like that one.
Why is he you know, looking at this palm thing and unfolding it and looking at it, holding it up?
It doesn't seem to be dangerous. Like yeah.
That's
Yeah.
So yeah, I got those, and I was using a saw to cut the base off because they're like too tall, you know. And then I ended up just using like my loppers for pruning palm trees and stuff, and just lopped the bottom 1.5 to 2 inches off of it, and just mixed up plaster of Paris and stuck it in, and the snakes don't really often push them over. The coolest thing, so like in my 6-foot enclosure, I have 2 of those along the back, and that's her hide.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
You know, like that, like she can be totally sprawled out behind those, and you'd have no idea there's a 6.5 foot Argentine boa behind it.
That's awesome.
Oh,
I like
wow.
that.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
every now and then she'll poke her head out. But yeah, like so, and that kind of changed my philosophy on hides, right? Like what is a hide? Like I think for every new keeper, they think of the box that the snake goes under, right? And I think that there's probably benefit to that, right? That cramped feeling and being able to feel all sides and all that. But I think as they get bigger and more confident, still providing a hide but something that they can just, if they don't want to be seen, she can go behind there.
Yeah, it's especially with species that are more high strung. I have my dog tooth, and they are just thin as whips, and I gave them hides, but they don't go in them. So I just put a bunch of fake plants in there. So looking in their cage is like peering in Jurassic Park. It's like plants and then like a little eye and face, and just like there it is, and it's like,
Clever
okay,
girl,
got you. And but that's what calmed them down, and they're not pushing and they're not rubbing on their faces because they're notorious for that shit. And they just kind of weave through the plants, and that's what that's what they're supposed to do. Like that small arboreal stuff like that, like them and rhinos, that's what they're designed to do. So if I can help recreate that, like even then with you about the Argentine, if you can give them a shit ton of cover that they can hide behind, that's what they're supposed to do. And it's supposed to wait for food to come walking around and then hit it. So
well, and she has, so I kind of style all my cages the same, where I take stainless lag screws and big ass washers, and I lag screw all the branches along the back. So I'll do like thick sort of stumps that come off, and then I'll take a spanner and attach that. And so she has the exact same setup in her cage. So I get to see a 6-foot Argentine go up and perch on that branch,
right,
waiting for prey to go by. And that is like the coolest thing ever when she gets hungry enough to do that, which it's like hard to make her hungry enough to do that. She'll go 4 or 5 weeks without eating, and there's no change in her body composition. It's like, geez Louise. Boas are just different.
Yeah.
I always thought, especially with carpets and stuff like that, if you give them a big enough branch, ledge, stick, they'll use it. They'll like, and it might not be chondro using where it's like I sit here now forever. But they'll use it as a way to move. They'll use it as part of their thing. And that was always my big thing when I was kind of getting into it, was finding a big enough branch and then securing it hard enough for these big carpet pythons to do what they got to do. But yeah, I think it's more fun that way. Just kind of,
I have an oak tree. I have an oak tree on my side lot that maybe the three of us, if we were holding hands, we could wrap around it.
Okay.
It's huge. So I went out there and I pruned it and just harvested everything I want for my new enclosures that are going in.
Nice.
And then, made them small enough pieces that I can bake them. And, just kind of stuck everything away in there. I do want to say about keeping the diamonds outside, Tony Doerr, I was talking to him. If anybody wants to see somebody keeping diamonds outside in like some cold weather, he's got some crazy stories and shorts and everything right now where you can see his breath, and he's got a coastal just laying out in like 40-degree weather, just hanging out there. They have heated hide boxes that are 81 degrees, and this coastal is choosing to go chill out on top of the box and hang out and look for food.
I think that's something we always kind of push too hard. Is we've always talked about this for a while, is that we were keeping pythons too hot for a while. Like that was just something, the basis of a lot of stuff was, I almost feel like they prefer it to be a little bit cold, and then they go warm up and then they go do stuff. It's like keeping them at a constant high heat was, I think, very bad for these kind of things.
Am I wrong to think of it like charging your phone? It's like the idea of
they do make a noise regulating, when they reach their
no, like meaning that what I'm saying is like, yeah, ding ding
ding, yay,
100%.
My python's charged. I can take it out now.
Yeah, so like meaning that they have to go sit in the sun to get a certain amount of energy. When they get that energy, then they go and do stuff to your stuff. And I think that the thinking has always been that they have to stay at that temperature all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's at least what I get from new people that are coming in. The idea that, it has to go warm up, and then it gets to a certain temp, and then it can do whatever it's going to do. And the temperature outside is going to fluctuate, but they're able to, whether it's, because because they typically are darker or whatever the case would be, they're going to be able to retain that heat.
Well, and also depending on what temperatures outside, like if it's the middle of August, they're not going to be losing that much heat that fast because everywhere else is hot. So,
yeah.
It's that whole
and
thing.
then it could be that's just thinking about, and again, I know I was only in one spot, so it's like I can't say. Well, actually, I was in 3 different parts
with 100% certainty.
All of the scientific data that we have on this episode.
Bring me the
stats.
But the thing that I noticed is maybe that's the reason why they have the rocks. It's not so much because they're using the perching and stuff and the trees and whatnot, but like maybe they're laying on those rocks because those rocks are soaking up all that heat, and they're able to just chill there and soak it up.
Well, that's also true is that and that's why I think certain facing rock like walls and crevices are so good for reptiles, because they don't have to necessarily be out 100% in the nature where things can like just snag it right off a rock. It can be back far enough that it's protected, but that rock is so hot up front that heat's kind of radiating backwards.
Yeah.
So snake is sitting at like an 80 or a 70 something, just out of sight, just kind of protected still.
Yeah.
And I use I use slate placemats from Walmart as my basking platform.
Okay.
And so something that I've another shout out, Chris Sexton at Heli Guy Serpents. You had talked about the 3D printed perches. He's got the ones with the cup holders built right into them, which I think is fantastic.
He's got those ones now that are module that have like a little drawer that for like
he's out of control. He's out of control.
I love it. Yeah.
So he's designing me these hides that take the slate placemat and it sits on top, and it's going to lock in place. Okay. So the snake, and he can make it all different heights for all different kinds of snakes. Okay. And so the snake can go in there and hide. They can get the warmth from above, and then they can also lay on that, and it simulates sort of what you're getting in nature. And exactly. And since I've changed my lighting setup, I was doing the deep heat emitters, right? And I got rid of those, and now I'm doing the basking bulbs, 25-watt basking bulbs over the slate. All the snakes like come out at the end of the day and get on that, because I have my fluorescents all turn off, and then the heat light stays on for like 30, 45 minutes. So that is like the sun going down for them. And so as soon as that fluorescent goes off, they're active. They're like, okay, I'm going out now. So they're not like nocturnal, right? They're seeing, okay, something changed. And then they go out and they get on that basking platform, and they curl up, and they charge their battery. And then once that goes off, then they explore the whole cage. Then they're cruising. Right. And that is so cool to be able to see that. That's the exciting stuff about keeping for me. Yes. Is seeing like, hey, I changed this. I made it more naturalistic. I made it more like what they get out in nature. And now I get to observe this behavior. Yeah. And that's the stuff that I just absolutely geek out about, that I'm in love about or with the hobby,
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I was on a podcast the other night, and we were talking about the reptile hobby or whatever, and one of my, I don't want to say it's not a complaint per se, but like it seems like for me that the hobby has geared more towards the person and not the animal. Does that make sense?
100%.
And it's to me, I don't really care about. I mean, I do care about the people.
I don't really care about people. Like,
we're geek. I like the circle of people that geek out about trying to figure out how they work, and like you get these little tiny windows into what it could be like for them in the wild, or what they would do, or the behaviors. I mean, I'm with you. I geeked out for forever for the chondro hang, and it's just like, and then I don't know. I think Owen's right. If I probably would have got into carpets and diamonds were first,
Yeah.
they would probably be it for me.
Yeah, you'd
know what I
be
mean?
done.
It'd probably
You'd
be
have
it.
called it right there.
I mean, they're perfect. You can keep them in a room that's not hot. You know, I don't know, man.
I hate this because now we have my gears turning. So I have these hide boxes.
Owen's
big-
on.
Yeah, I
Holy
am.
guy serpent's looking up.
No,
What
no,
can I
no,
get him to
not
make for
necessarily
me?
that.
They're still
but-
prototypes, guys.
No, it's too late. I'm already gone. I have the hide boxes, which are the black bins with the yellow tops that have the latches, and the lids kind of go in and then dip down a little bit, and then there's just like little kind of thing here. And I'm like, well, how big are these slate placemats? Because you know what, if they fit right in that little thing and I can secure them, oh goodness, now I have a little heated thing that can kind of retain some heat and a little bit of a rock thing. So that more research is needed, but thank you for turning those gears in my head. So
Yeah. And the only reason I thought about that was walking my dog at dusk. All of a sudden, that's when you see all the snakes on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming out of the palmettos and the tall grass, and they're getting on the road, and they're like, I got to get ready because it's going to be a wild night. There's going to be bobcats chasing me. I'm going to be looking for all these rabbit devouring rats, you know, and you know, so they're getting prepped.
Right.
Rats in Florida are no joke, man. That's like,
Yeah.
It's, I like the idea of trying to add something that, you know, one makes my life a little bit easier as far as that, but also gives them an options of how to regulate themselves in their heat. And if adding a slate placemat, like gluing it down to the tops of my bins they already have, is going to help retain some heat, maybe make the inside a little bit warmer and give them something to crawl onto that maybe is a little bit more appealing than a plastic tub bin. Why not?
I have a question. Are they strong enough that you could stack a couple on top of each other?
The rocks.
You know what I mean? Like you could kind of like
a
put
like
spacer
almost,
between them.
Oh,
It's almost like a
100%.
reed stack.
yeah, like make a reed stack. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah, you know, when I order mine, there's always like a couple that come in broken,
Correct.
you know, because they're maybe a quarter inch thick, probably less than that, probably just under a quarter inch.
So
you know, which is kind of a good thing because they'd be super heavy. But I was using, and I'm still using, like landscape curbing, you know, like blocks to elevate them.
Yeah.
And I eventually I just reached out to Chris and I'm like, dude, can you help me out here so I'm not using these blocks that are scraping up my cages and banging into stuff and they're heavy as hell. And, you know, I'm like putting, you know, the adhesive felt padding on them so they don't scratch everything up. And yeah, he like sent me a couple prototypes and they're freaking awesome. And I'm like, and it gives more space for the animal too, to be able to go in there and disappear.
I think we'll look back at the reptile hobby and say the greatest thing that was ever invented
3D
for the
printers.
reptile hobby is a 3D printer.
Dude, I am already, I have them in my shopping cart. I'm gonna get it. I have all the ceiling
Oh, and
hide
you're a
stuff.
monster.
Yeah. I have all the ceiling hide stuff, and then for medium, large, and like extra large, to get everything ceiling hides. Like I'm just gonna get more and more shit into these cages to give them more and more stuff.
The cool thing is that it's like you said, Eric. It's for the animal.
Yeah.
More than it is for the keeper. And I think, and that's like one of the big reasons I like your guys' show so much, is that you guys like talk about that stuff, and you're willing to look at different perspectives and say like, could I keep better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like could I keep my animals better, and if I had them this way or that way, and so like having that constant asking yourself those questions and not just saying like, no, this is how I do it and it's the right way, and everybody else is stupid and I hate them, you know, like how are you ever going to grow, you know, or change or anything like that? And how that's why you guys are so interesting, right? Is because you are always changing and like changing the way you keep, and you share it.
Yeah.
You know, the takeout containers with the sphagnum and, you know, all that stuff, all the, you know, like tips and tricks to keep better, you know, it's not a pinned document. It's a living document.
It has to be. It has to be, because what I would have done, I mean, looking back, I would have added all these things years ago. And now we're at the point where like the availability and technology has progressed to the point where it is easy to do it. And what does it hurt? Like, I really doubt I'm going to put something in. Like, I'm not going to put a ceiling hide in a cage and the snake's going to be like, well, nope, that's it. At death. Like, it's not going to hurt it at all. And maybe that was because the reputations that animals have as being difficult, hard, all this other shit is like, okay, yeah, you put it in a bear tank with like, a water bowl and a flipped over Cool Whip container and it died on you because it's like, yeah, well, if you gave it more options, different places to go, I had to take the ceiling hide out of my Dunai cage because 2 adult animals tried to cram themselves into one hide.
Oh no.
That was only the size of maybe one of them. So I had to take it down because they weren't taking no for an answer with each other. So they're part of the ones that are going to get an upgrade where the 2 of them could fit into the ceiling hide together. Because I don't give a shit if that's where you guys are comfortable and that's where you decide you're going to breed. Just do it. Like, So that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I just think of like, again, that's what I geek out about. I geek out about the like, and I love that Owen just like, I put boy snake with girl snake.
That's Owen on the surface.
That's the great dynamic. You know what I mean? And it's just sort of like,
He's also really mean in text.
Yeah, he is.
He is. I don't like him either.
That's
Everybody stay away from Owen. Don't bother him.
For the love of God. Like, I don't know why.
Don't bother him like I did.
How many times do we have to say it?
All right, so I guess we're coming to that time, but
no, we didn't talk about Argentine.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Let's talk Argentina before we go. So
they are cool.
Done and finished.
So I just have I got a pair of Fortune Line Argentines.
Okay.
And more pink or
are they? I was going to say pink or no pink.
They are just
black and white.
Just black and white, just regular Argentines. They have pink, as babies, as they do. Yep. But it's the Fortune Line. It was allegedly smuggled into LAX, I think.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
I'm not sure where from. I want to say Argentina. We'll just say Argentina for the sake of the story.
That's a safe bet. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were smuggled from Argentina into LAX, allegedly, and the smugglers were caught.
Yeah.
And the animals were taken to Seattle Zoo, where Edgar Fortune worked at the time. And he bred them, and the babies went out into the hobby.
Cool.
And that was the origin of the Fortune Line, allegedly. I'm probably filling in a lot of gaps here with my own imagination.
You got the general gist of it. I mean, yeah. Okay.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, so this is, I think my animals are F3.
Cool.
Okay.
Argentines. And they've already mellowed down. They already lost. They were born this year. They've already stopped hissing at me, which is cool. They both regurgitated when I first got them, which was uncool.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, you have people on the podcast and then you have friends and everything. So I get to reach out to Warren Booth and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And then he's like, let me talk to my old pal Keith. And, and then he's, talking to Keith and Keith's talking to him and, all that. And that's what's so cool about this community is people are so willing to help when there's a problem, and now I've got these 2 Argentines that are just exploding in size and
right.
Yeah. They're such cool snakes. I love them.
Yeah. I see, for me, I do see why Owen loves boas so much.
Whoa.
Well, they're very, I think they're very, it's very similar to carpet pythons.
What the hell loves boas so much?
Same
I
size.
Have like 2.
Owen McIntyre of Rogue Boas.
What are you talking about? 2. You got Argentines.
I said 2 species.
Well, what is
I didn't hear
rainbow
species.
Boa? They don't count. That's a different thing.
What
That's
about Jamaica? Or no, you have what's the other one? You
I'm
have?
not helping. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I'm not helping.
Do you have any other boas, or is it just the Argentines?
So I have the trio of Argentines, and I have 2 BIs. I've got
Ooh.
two morph boas. I've got a IMG Motley, and so he is just pure black. His eyes are black orbs. He's pretty special. When he doesn't bite and wrap, he bites and then pulls back and then just eats. Like it's like I can't get him to wrap. I don't know why. Today I fed him and he just like grabbed it and then retracted into his hide with it in his mouth. Until just the back legs were sitting out and I see it moving slowly in and I'm like, all right, he's eating it.
So he eats like a false water cobra. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
They just open their mouth and move forward, and that's okay.
And then I've got my my risque morph boa. She's an orange gasm.
Orange gasm.
Yeah, they need to rename that.
Names are stupid.
That sounds like weed, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
just picked up some orange gasm down there at the dispensary.
This is so tight, man.
I almost feel like there should be some sort of like this is the name we're gonna go with, and like a veto button by the community.
100%. Yeah.
Oh man, let's see. I'm curious to see what I'm looking it up now. What an art.
Well, there was the I mean, we got mad about we did a podcast once where they had us guess ball python morphs if they were real or not. and I got really mad because one of them was like the nanny, and I said that can't be real, and it is, and then I got mad because I'm like, that is the dumbest name I've ever heard of. And then like
they could have gone with like Miss Doubtfire or something.
It didn't matter. Like it didn't make any damn sense. And then I think like a week later, Rob, I think he had just stopped working. Rob Christian had just stopped working at Nerd or whatever that, and he goes, "We're sorry. Like we didn't know that was." I'm like, so it's your fault. So, like,
it was Rob.
He's like, no, but I'm like, yeah, don't apologize then. So, yeah, it was.
I'm actually. I have. I have 2 ball pythons, and one day I hope to make a Pompeii. Which is actually
that's a cool snake.
Like that's snake. Part of that lava. I do like how at least there's somewhat of a connection right now. That makes
sense. Yeah.
Where they all go over here. It's like, yes, that must be a part of this.
The nanny.
Where is that? Where
Isn't there one called a Wookiee? There's a Wookiee.
Yeah, but that's part of that Star Wars thing because they had the Stormtrooper all that other bullshit. Yeah.
There's a Stormtrooper morph. I couldn't even tell you what morph I have to make the Pompeii.
Wow, and I'm impressed. You know the Stormtrooper.
I pretend not to listen.
He's got ball pythons.
Stuff leeches.
He's finally sold out.
God, never.
More racks, more ball pythons.
Yes, that's what I need. Get rid of these cages and these fun animals.
You think you have fun talking to customers now?
I kill myself. How many grams did it? Shut up. That's how much.
Weigh?
Yeah. I'll only look at it if it has 12 genes in it. Get the hell away from me.
So, is it true that Argentines have to be kept cooler like diamonds? Is that true? Not true.
I'm keeping them on the bottom level.
Okay.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember when Worm was talking to Keith about the temperatures and everything. I think I might have had mine too cold. And I didn't let them settle long enough. And so they, I think that's why the regurgitation happened.
I think it's along the same lines of like diamond pythons. It's like they can chill at the right temps, but when you're going to try to breed, I'm sorry, maybe not diamond pythons because of the whole other shit, but maybe like a breadlie where it's like, if you're going to get it to breed, you got to drop it. Like, so I think later on as mine get bigger, I'm going to move them into cages and maybe I'll revisit the temperatures and where I put them, what I do with them and stuff like that. But for right now, living at the bottom of the rack, they're doing fine.
Have you looked at some of the temperatures on iNaturalist of some of the locations where they're found?
I'm not that crazy. I'll just wait for you to tell me.
Well, I am that crazy.
There you go. See, there we go.
I sit in bed and I go, no scented candles.
I wonder
in this
what's
house.
happening.
No scented candles.
No scented candles. But I wonder what it is in Argentina. Like,
rocking in my bed.
A very short cake. No, don't have it.
Get the hell out of here. But
it gets really hot and it gets pretty cold there.
That was my thinking, because
Yeah.
I imagine where Argentina is and kind of also where diamond pythons are. It's basically, if it's a dark snake, I imagine it's from a place that gets really hot and really fucking cold.
Yep.
So, and they have to kind of take advantage of what they can get. So,
Yeah.
So with you guys, I don't know if you do this with your diamonds, Adam, but with you guys keeping these Argentines, are you sort of like keeping them normally until they get to a certain size, and then maybe once they start breeding, moving into the cycle, or are you are you doing it as they age?
cycling them as they grow.
I got weak. Yeah. I felt bad for her. I was like, she's so hungry in there, It's been
Look at
4
her.
weeks. She's practically dying, and I was like, just one extra large rat
One
won't
rat's
hurt,
not gonna hurt.
Gotcha.
And then it was like, all right, but seriously, now you are being psycho.
Now we're done. We're done. Stop
4
looking
weeks
at me like
later.
that.
She comes out of the hide with that little face.
Little face
Yeah.
of hers.
Can't say no.
She's like,
to.
come scratch my chin, papa.
Come on, food monkey.
I swear this is normal, right? Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, the dark snakes, like we have black racers everywhere, and there's this trail that I take my kids on,
Right.
and it was like sweater weather, like 50 something degrees, and they're laying out in the sunlight, like as the sun's going down, they're like right afternoon, the hottest part of the day, and they're like on the side of the road or the trail rather, to get the most sun exposure and the most heat. It was so cool. It's so cool seeing that. It's cool seeing that out in nature, and then it's cool seeing it when you can recreate it and you're like, oh man, what have I been missing out on? What else can I do to try to make their life cooler, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I think when it comes to breeding. I think I don't know. Is it we're just programmed to say it's like if a snake slugs out, it's because of the male, or it's because the sperm was too hot, or it's because of I didn't give her enough heat, she didn't eat enough, and it's like, do we really know those answers, and can we do it better if we did? Will that go away? You know what I mean? I just find that I think maybe it's changed a bit, but one of the frustrations I had when I was coming back into the Python specific hobby was that it was sort of like, well, I got slugs. And it's just like, even I did it. I would be like, well, Owen, I got slugs. And it's like, I don't know why. And
it was all that hot sperm in there.
But there's never that thing of,
if some normal person listens to this podcast,
I mean, what are they doing? What are they doing here anyway? Like, they should have known. But you're right, where it's like we kind of something happens and we're like, well, that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Rather than seeing what else can be done. And it kind of seems like with the reptile community in general is if we get to a certain point where we can keep it alive and it can make others of itself, we're good. That's it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think of when we were talking to Richard Ross, right? And the stuff that he was doing and saying, just his experience of getting to
that show ruined me. Okay.
I'm like,
that
I
episode
feel like,
ruined
unfortunately, we're in the generation that's the next generation of reptile keepers, let's say, to where it's sort of like, well, we figured this out. We figured how to keep them alive to breed them. You got to figure out the rest. And we're just like, nah, we're not doing that.
Well, it was
no,
funny
it's fine. They breed.
Yeah. Good. Well, it was funny as hell because I'm like, I've tried everything. I've spent tons of money. He goes, we actually just lost power, and then they had eggs. I'm like, the incandescent bulb I got from Walmart went out. And I'm like, wait, we were keeping them in wood crates that I was had in my basement. I'm like, I stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. All right, Owen, I don't know. You got a closing question you want to?
I guess, I mean, I know we talked about like if you could add anything. I guess, well, yeah, well, if you could add anything, whether it be legality or stuff like that, be damned. What would it be?
A berm.
A berm.
Yeah.
Why? Why a berm?
Either a berm or a mainland retic.
Okay.
Something I could give a room to.
Mm-hmm.
And totally geek out and make it like a zoo enclosure with giant branches in there and basking spots, and yeah, I'd love it.
There's some guy, I don't think he's in the States, but he has a big, I guess he's got a big
retic
loft.
cage.
Yeah, it's berms. Is it berms or retics? But he's got a loft.
Berms.
He's got a giant.
He's got 2 berms in one enormous cage.
Yeah, and he just like, it's one that he has to climb into. And he could walk standing straight up, and they've got rock ledges and branches and big enough for these giant snakes to move around and stuff like that. And he has to like go through with a rake every once in a while to get like debris and stuff like that. That's 100%. That's where I would go with those animals.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, especially too, because I'm just thinking in my mind, like the idea of a berm being in a naturalistic habitat.
It would kill you. I mean, I assume, Adam, you're like taller, 6 foot, maybe, you know, then maybe you can have one. My friend here, he would be
It's
in
3
danger.
inches shorter than
He
that.
would be in danger. I don't want him to be hurt.
I'm in danger from a
He would
Hermes
be.
python.
He would be.
Eric and I are about the same height.
Oh my God.
Counts, man.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, I guess my image of a Burmese python is like just a big snake coil in a cage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never would think about it climbing up on a branch or on a.
And his are like athletic too. That dude
Really?
in Europe,
Muscle.
like they're like getting away from him, and he's like trying like,
Shit,
and it's
I'm gonna
all
have to look up this guy.
Yeah, they're super chill. I reposted his one of his videos on my story.
Yes.
And because it was just so cool, because he's like trying to clean the cage, and it was like
out.
Yeah, it was funny. Like they're trying to get out, and he's grabbing them and dragging them back in, and like it was super cool. Like that interaction is like awesome.
They didn't give 2 shits. He's like grabbing them and putting them back, and they were big, like, and they weren't like albinos or anything. They were like wild type berms, and they looked great. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
A soft spot for berms for sure.
I mean, I could keep you in that cage. Eric. You would be very happy there.
You would breathe.
Yeah.
You would feed.
Run around, you frolic. It'd be great.
you have a hot spot.
Yeah.
You have a cold spot.
You have a branch.
Do I
You
get
have
the
Eric
crevices.
laying out under the basking spot.
He had a large sandwich for lunch. So
Do I get to go up in ceiling heights
Of
too?
course. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
man.
bet you have the
This is
right
great.
kind.
This is great.
Some people call it a bunk bed.
His feet are just sticking out as he's.
No, I'd be too tall for that. Ellen.
Yeah.
Some sphagnum moss packed in there for you. You know,
That would be
keep
my
your
pillow.
skin from cracking.
Yeah, you don't have problems for shedding. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You well taken care
spare
of.
no expense. I
would not.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
That's what you do for your pets.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the only other thing would be, or the only other question for the closing is, if you had any advice to give to a new herper or a new reptile person, what would it be?
It's a constant uphill battle. Like I feel like, like me and the way I am, I want everything to be totally set and you forget it and you walk away. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you're doing it, if you want to do it like this, it's a constant uphill battle where, I mean, the episode I did with Thomas Griffiths about lighting and heating and everything, it was, it can be maddening, right?
Yeah.
And like you do the best you can with what you got. But yeah, there's a lot of learning and trial and error, and I guess, God, it would be so easy to just like give in and just get like just a big ass rack and just keep everything in there. And
Yeah.
You know, like that would be easier. But what I get out of keeping the animals is watching them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I would lose my entire purpose for keeping animals. I would lose.
Right.
You know, that's my whole deal. I like watching the animals.
Yep.
Yeah, and it must to have my reptile room set up like how you have it, to where you just go in and just can sit there and just watch them. That's the goal.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
you can't do that in racks. You're right.
No.
You know? I get very frustrated that some of my stuff is still in racks, but time and money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've only got like 20 animals. I don't know. My son would correct me if he was standing here. It's 23. You know.
Close enough. Like, yeah.
People say like his teacher will be like, "Oh, and how many snakes do you have?" He has 23 snakes, and we have 5 rabbits. We're out of control. Call the police. My dad is a hoarder.
23.
And thank you for helping. I have 23.
Are you
snakes.
super hoarder or what? What's going on?
I refuse to answer that question. When people ask me how much, I go, I have enough. Let's leave it at that. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there was a certain time where I was like, I have 10 snakes, no big deal. Now I just go, I don't know. You know, I've got some snakes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the ones that haven't been shipped to me yet that I've already purchased? Because those are out there
What
too.
you got going on? Get the hell out of here. Yeah.
I got blood pythons coming. I don't care.
Do you?
From
Yeah.
From who?
Cara Norris.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Reds, blacks,
Yep, reds.
Borneos, reds. Okay.
Yeah. Super excited.
Yeah, she
Nice.
has amazing reds for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
An animal I can appreciate, but I will never own. No.
That's what I told myself for a few weeks.
No, but I had it and I did it and then I got rid of it. So yeah, I did it. I checked.
I get my fill by going. By the way, Owen, we probably should go visit Matt to sex the
should.
snakes. Yeah,
I
know you're jonesing for it.
No, I can't. No, I mean I am, but I can't.
You guys are so lucky you all have each other like within
Yeah, but
driving
the problem
distance.
is like I don't want to go to Matt's because then I'm going to see his Sri Lankans and I'm going to want
Oh
those.
yeah.
And then I'm going to see.
That's
then I'm
a
going to see the
dream.
rest of his. Then I'm going to see the rest of his boas, and I want
You will lose
those.
your shit when you see that Sri
them. I
Lankan.
don't want to see them. I don't want to see them,
Oh
but
my
also
God.
I do want to see them. So
Hey,
Yeah,
you know
my-
what I could do?
Mm.
Potentially, I wonder if I could get my building and then set up like by appointment visits and be somebody like an exhibitor.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe
And then
And
if you get an exhibitor license, then that'll be fun, right?
and then I could get berms and
There you go.
know Sri Lankans.
didn't I forget the guy. One of
Stephen
the
Tillis.
he did it, but wasn't there another YouTuber that did it too? Like when I can't think of his name. He wears the hat.
It's weird. Like I think like the people that go around and kill all the pythons, like I think that there's like certain agencies that can keep them for educational purposes. Like this is how
Right.
you kill the berm.
Oh,
You want to kill
Okay.
it,
I
kill
don't-
it
I
like
don't-
this, and the poor
I don't-
snake is like, "Yeah, this is great, thanks."
I don't like this.
Yeah.
This is not a. This
is
is
what
not
I signed up for.
This is not an educational thing that I really wanted. Yeah, no,
They have Indian python blood in them too. The Florida pythons.
I
Do that?
imagine.
Yeah.
yeah, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh shit. So they're hybrids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
see, no, I can't. I can't have Sri Lankans. No. All right. Anyway,
They're so cool though.
Yeah.
I know they are. It's why and they're gorgeous. But
But
I
William,
mean-
William Philippek talked me off of them because of his harrowing stories that he has of wrangling them and them like trying to kill him. I think
Yeah.
all of his snakes want to kill him though.
Yeah.
All
I
of them.
mean, all of
Every
mine do.
snake he talks about, he's like, yeah, I'm worried that if I build a cage for this, the wall won't be thick enough that they'll come bursting through at me. And I'm like, dude, what kind of animals are you keeping?
I mean, that's a little. That's
He's a
little
muscle
much.
monkey. They want to kill the muscle
I mean,
monkey.
yeah, I mean, I don't.
they
think
see
that is
him
a
and they
little
just
hard.
think alpha predator. It's
Yeah.
the silverback.
Yeah. Kill him and then it's good.
Oh wait, the silverback's a vegetarian. They don't have to worry about that.
They don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a silverback still chuck a snake pretty far, but
yeah.
it's.
And
see.
when I would open the drawer,
Hmm.
it would like you would hear that music like
And that's the thing is, there are a couple times where you're like, you want this, and I went no, and I've been like, you fucking moron, like, and that's one of them. But also, where would I put those?
I did offer them to you, right?
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, again,
I tried to give them to you so they would stay close.
them.
Does he have yours, Eric?
No, he has
No.
another one.
But
You
from
got-
the same clutch.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
but
What happened to yours, Eric?
I gave them to Chris
Fully.
Foley
Yep.
Okay.
because
So-
he was super into them. I had this
Yeah.
one. I had
Usually,
did I have?
your girl was
1.2.
gorgeous.
I had this girl. Oh my god, she was.
It was
amazing.
them
They're so pretty.
and the Papuan pythons, where I'm like, you moron, why didn't you just take them? So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Missed
Probably
out on that one
Papuans are
too.
next level.
yeah,
Yeah. They will kill you. they that
mean,
snake is
Stop.
that's an intense snake.
Stop selling. Okay, you've already hit oil. All right. I mean, like it's a pissed off single tone snake that nobody wants.
I remember getting one.
done.
I got this one from Dan,
Mhm.
and it was like maybe a sub-adult. I don't know. It was probably like maybe 6-7 feet long. It was pretty thick. So I have it in quarantine, and I had this one of them. I wanted it to give it a light and whatnot, so I kind of had it in this like big glass enclosure, and it just did this. Like it just, it's coiled up, and it just pushed its coils, and the fucking glass broke.
No
and Rob
way.
had the
Yeah.
same problem.
Yeah.
Rob was like, it broke the glass. You're just like, okay, this is
Yep,
another
that's
level
enough.
of snake.
Yep.
I quick call Rob. I'm like, yo, Rob, what the hell? He's like, I told you, man.
I told you. Why
God
would you listen?
He's like, you never listen to me.
I had one of them, but it was a little, I think she was a little special because she got sent from a northern state to Florida. And people don't take into consideration that a heat pack in like, I get it. It's super cold where you're at.
Right.
But then it's coming down to me where it's like still like 78 degrees
They
outside.
spend 2 hours here, and then they
Right.
spend the rest of the time running
Yeah.
around there. Yeah.
So she was kind of jaggy for a little while.
Okay.
But she ended up coming out of it. But she was captive bred, and I think I had her back in 2012.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Wow, back. All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I ended up, when I rehomed everything,
When you got rid of. Okay.
That's one of the
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
They're cool snakes though, but
they're so cool.
If space wasn't a commodity, but it is, and
You just focus on the Sri Lankans and you'll be good, Owen.
yeah,
just get
okay,
those.
just
Get a
go those.
pair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get a pair of those.
Ditch the retic, get the Sri Lankans.
Exactly. You're doing God's
therefore-
work.
Yeah,
Therefore,
what the hell, man?
completing that problem. Yeah.
They're
So,
too important to be lost.
Yeah.
There needs to be more people working with them.
Listen, I'm not a very good python breeder, so
That's nonsense.
we've heard that from time to time. But, more of a colubrid guy, but it's all right.
I am.
It's
I'm
breeding.
really,
You know what
I'm
I mean?
really
I
just
mean,
a colubrid
boas and
guy. That,
colubrids
yeah,
is-
just,
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah.
If it's not colubrids, it's
Listen,
boas.
this is all just so I can eventually get a collection of Nile monitors and work with those. I don't know why I keep putting it off. So
Nile monitors and day
Yeah.
geckos. That's your dream.
that's all. That's it, right there. I've decided to become veiled chameleons. So yeah,
Oh no.
Very good.
someone needs to check on me if I'm ever serious
Dear
about any
future
of that.
Owen,
Yeah.
you never buy veiled chameleon.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Rogue chameleons.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember when past Owen didn't buy the Sri Lankans?
And went chameleons. What the hell was up with that?
All right. Yeah. So I guess where can people throw your info out, Adam?
Oh
Where
yeah.
people can find you.
At official_snake_boy BOI. Misspelled. And that's on Instagram and TikTok. You can check out my Antaresia maculosa that has 2 million views on it of it trying to eat my hand. She's
Nice.
she's the most famous spotted python.
Excellent.
I'm assuming.
I think it's a
Excellent.
fair assumption. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't do a whole lot on TikTok, but I know that's where the kids are at.
Okay.
But yeah, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can find the podcast. You can just type in The Expert and the Idiot, and it should come up for Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all that nonsense, and YouTube if you want the video.
Okay.
And yeah, I wanted to try to get you guys to talk for 3 hours. I was gonna try so hard, but I know you want to stop. I know you don't.
I thought Owen had to go somewhere.
I
That's why
do.
thought-
I do.
Oh,
I do.
that's right,
I
Owen.
do. Only, yeah. If I didn't, I
Yeah.
would, and I would so totally be here for that. But I can't. So
I want. Yeah, we should do another one where we try to go like past 4 hours or something. It'd be fun.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do it.
I could
Don't
talk to you
threaten
guys
us-
forever.
Don't threaten us with a good time because I mean,
It'll be a
that-
crossover episode.
yeah, we'll just go on your
The expert and the two idiots.
Yeah, we'll do.
Oh,
2
that
hours
that would be cool if you guys were the first trio.
double. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
That'd be fun.
Bring that intern too, whatever he's doing.
Yeah, where is that guy? What'd you do with him?
Lazy
Oh, man.
asshole. No, it's
I miss him. Carpets and Coffee
I
now
mean,
is just NPR.
he
I
might
don't know
be
if
on
you guys
fire.
noticed
Like,
that.
yeah, a lot of yelling. But we're
Next
trying
Wednesday,
to get,
right?
yeah, Wednesday is Carpets and Coffee because today was the kickoff for MPR.
Right.
And then next Wednesday we're doing Carpets and Coffee, and we're gonna have him do that. But he may also be on fire right now.
That's
so
true.
Oh,
we
that's
have to
right.
see how that goes.
Poor Lucas.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Anyway,
That was depressing.
wrapping up the show. Please join the Discord. Definitely jump in on all the other shows on the channel. And all that other stuff that we have going on. I don't know what the sponsors are coming into this year because I'm not sure if we're still
We don't
doing
have
some of those.
sponsors. If you want to follow us, follow us.
Yeah.
I believe in that. They're
Anyway,
on the links. It's all in the
That's
show
it.
notes.
We're done.
We're not talking
Um,
about this anymore.
thus begins this new season. And thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch everybody next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.
I love you guys.
Oh man, you got it in there. Oh wait,
Perfect.
it didn't end.